the fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater. Out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Gone! Grant Fournier! Two-run shot to right!
Check, check.
Welcome to Audubon High School. We are back home here from the home of the Green Wave. It's a WJFL Saturday morning matchup to close out Week 2 between the Audubon Green Wave and the Bordentown Scotties right here from my hometown, my alma mater of Audubon High School. I'm Dan Wilkins. I'm joined by Gavin Van Rel on the call today. This is going to be a good game between two teams where last year's contest was separated by 1 point. The final score, a low-scoring affair back in Bordentown, an 8-7 final in favor of the Green Wave. Now they look to get, I believe, their first home game of the season underway with a bang versus the Scotties.
Last year, the 8 points for Audubon came in the fourth quarter, a crazy 2-point conversion to win the game. I expect nothing less today.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these are two teams, again, coming off of a Week 1, Week 0 loss. Bordentown losing to Burlington City, and then Audubon losing to Paulsboro. Of course, a sentimental day for Paulsboro, renaming their stadium the Glenn Howard Stadium. But we will, a little bit of a mistimed intro. We've got the national anthem. We're going to be back in just a minute. We'll wrap up this pregame intro. Okay, sorry about that. Let's regroup here. Bordentown lost to Burlington City in Week 1, but also Bordentown lost to Burlington City and Audubon last year, and then rebounded for a 6-1 home stretch for a 7-3 regular season finish. Bordentown's got a lot to play for today, obviously being an out-of-division opponent. They lost on their home turf by 1 point. As you said, wild 2-point conversion to end the game. We've had two very strong games this weekend. Highland and Pennsauken with a last-minute touchdown. Overbrook Pennsville with a crazy 3-score comeback. Today, I don't expect any different. Final thoughts before we turn this all around?
Audubon played a tough game against Paulsboro. They are looking to bounce back here, and I think they are ready to take on the challenge and get their first win of the season, but it is a tough Bordentown team, so this should be a very good game to start this Saturday morning.
Again, we welcome you to Audubon High School at Bendorf Narducci Memorial Field. I'm Dan Wilkins. We're going to turn that brightness down so that you can actually see the football field in front of you as Audubon in their bright home yellow jerseys, bringing them back for the first time in a few years Bordentown in their road whites. As we're going to get ready to go, it's Audubon and Bordentown, a WJFL National versus Patriot divisional out-of-division matchup, as we've got Audubon going to kick, Bordentown going to receive. Back to kick this one for Audubon is Theo Caladros. Back to return is Jamari Glover for the Scotties. Saturday morning from the hometown, we're underway. Bounces at the 20, it's muffed. Bordentown is going to fall on it, and they are going to start their offensive input from inside the 20-yard line on a bad kick return. As we start tonight, let's take a look at the Bordentown quarterback who will be commanding under center and in the shotgun, Trey Lee. Not too much from either side in terms of quarterbacking just in the second game of the season. Neither of these teams played a week 0 matchup. The junior quarterback had 4 for 8 with 22 passing yards versus Burlington City. Last year had 28 for 51, right around 50%, 364 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Bordentown sends a man in motion. They barrel it through the middle, and they'll get a yard or two that time for 2nd and 8. For the Scotties on their first drive of the afternoon. And what's going to be important for Bordentown, again, every possession is going to matter because of the fact that we didn't see much scoring in last year's contest between these two. The final score was 8-7. And when you have a direct contest with last year and you know how the game ended and you know that it was close, there's a reason why we picked up this game, because it looked like it was going to be something that would be fun for both sides and would be an interesting contest. They hand it off to the man in motion for a jet sweep. Here comes a good rush as Audubon will come in and get the tackle, number 54, Dylan Hoff. The man they call Diggy picks up the tackle after the rush by number 23, Jose Santiago, the junior. And that will set up 3rd and 7 from the 24-yard line after minimal gains on the first 2 plays by the Scotties.
Bordentown made a big point last week to get their rushing game established, and today, no changes. They look to have the same game plan here against Audubon.
He only 8 passing attempts for Trey Lee last week in the 20-14 loss to Burlington City. But again, they started off last year with a 20-2 loss to Burlington City and then lost by 1 point to Audubon. But then they won 6 of their next 7 games in Santiago. Looks like there's going to be movement on the offensive line, and we'll have a false start that knocks it back, and that's going to make this drive a little bit more complicated for the Scotties, as it was 3rd and 7. And now they'll get knocked back 5 yards for 3rd and 12 from their own, looks like the own 14-yard line. Yeah, that muffed kick return definitely put a hole in their plans, as Audubon's going to be looking for a good home opening win. They lost 28-14 to Paulsboro. In, again, what was a sentimental win for Paulsboro. They renamed their stadium that day to Glenn Howard Stadium, honoring the longtime 30-plus year head coach of the Red Raiders. Trips left, a tight trips for Lee, who will let this one fly. He's got a man downfield. He's caught. Nobody near him. Is he going to go all the way to the house for this opening drive? He will. To the end zone he goes. No flags around. And an opening touchdown for Khalil Bangura will put Bordentown on the board. They flip the field for 86 yards. And the junior wide receiver, Bangura, bangs into the end zone for a Bordentown score.
That's a well-executed 3rd and 12 play. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that other than a first down.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that, especially after the false start knocked everybody back, and now you find yourself in a fantastic situation. They're going to set up the PAT. Holding for it is number 12, Gregory Stalmacher, and kicking this time will be number 29, Lucas Schwartz, the junior, looking to make this 7-0 here at Bendorf Narducci Memorial Field. We've got whistles. I think there was movement on the defense. They did call encroachment on the defense. Got a little bit happy that time prior to the extra point. Now, because the extra point, I believe, was good, I believe they can decline it and just say that they can count it. Audubon's defense staying on the field, and now they're being taken off here. So it looks like, yes, the penalty was declined, so the extra point will stand. And just a minute and a half into this one, how about Bangura with an 86-yard receiving touchdown downfield? I mean, he just found, look at all that space right there. Over at the 35, there's nobody within 5 yards of him when he makes that catch at the 37. And then, again, I mean, we talk about what it means to have that kind of a good attack. They ended up coming back from that adversity on I believe it was 3rd and 12 after the false start. They had a couple of rushes, and Trey Lee's first pass will be good for his first passing touchdown of the day. So again, this was a matchup that saw very low scoring last year, but already early indications show that might not be the case in 2025. As it's 7-0 Bordentown, they silenced the home crowd very quickly with, again, touchdown that took less than 2 minutes off the clock in the first quarter. Again, it will be Schwartz to kick for Bordentown. 2 receivers back to return for Audubon. That is number 3, Mike Aversa, and number 8, the wide receiver, Aaron Pilla. Schwartz keeps it on the ground. It's going to be a squib up to the 30. This will be returned, and tripped up will be number 17, Aiden Lehan on the return. And now Noah Batillo, the junior quarterback, with just 1 varsity start under his belt, will get the house calls for Audubon here this morning/afternoon. Again, only 1 game under his belt. Obviously, he backed up Brayson McCracken last year. He did play defense during the 2024 season. Had 150 passing yards, passed for 56%, for 13 for 23 in that 28-14 loss to Paulsboro. But with Paulsboro's pass defense, very difficult to get anything in the air. So kudos to him for at least completing 13 passes. Aversa's in motion. They'll do the jet sweep. Right side. Oh, the ball gets popped out, and Bordentown's going to cough it up. First play on offense for Mike Aversa and the Audubon crew, and it gets recovered by Gregory Stalnaker, who will immediately fall on it. I mean, that ball almost comically got popped up in the air as it went straight up and straight into the hands of Bordentown, who, after 1 play, now have another offensive possession here in opposing territory at the 43.
That's just a rough start for Audubon. You come out, you have a great kick, you're in good field position on defense, and in 2 plays, everything is just totally flipped on its head here in the first quarter.
And it wasn't even a bad jet sweep. He just got hit hard and couldn't recover, couldn't handle the pressure. Lee passes to the lateral. It's out to the right. That ball got caught by Bangura, who had that 86-yard touchdown a few minutes ago. It looked like Aversa was in on the tackle that time. That's another thing with Group 1 football. We saw it last night with Robbie McDade in Pennsville. He was the starting quarterback who was 101 yards away from reaching 3,000 in his career. And he actually lined up as a defensive lineman and linebacker every single play, except for a handful on defense. So he was on the field pretty much for 99% of the plays that were held between Overbrook and Pennsville last night. And, I mean, I give him huge resilience because it is huge in Group 1 to be a versatile player. When you're in a Group 4, Group 5 regional school where you see yourself having 80 or 90 players on a roster, yeah, you can have some specialists out there. But for this, your wide receivers have to be defensive backs. Your O-linemen have to be D-linemen. If you're on the field for one side, there's a darn good chance if you're good enough to be a starter on offense, you're good enough to be a starter on defense as well. We've got 3rd and 6. From the 39-yard line in Audubon territory, as the Scotties are up 7-0. They scored early, just a minute and a half into this one, a 86-yard catch downfield for a score to Khalil Bangura. And then a Audubon turnover on their first offensive play on a jet sweep to Mike Aversa. Lee out of the pocket, fires too high that time. Bangura, the intended receiver, and it'll be 4th down and 5. So a bit of a break for Audubon, but we'll see if Bordentown goes for it. Bangura is going off the sideline, and so is their quarterback, Trey Lee. So they will bring their special teams unit on the field. And after an incompletion, I didn't mind that pass from Lee, just trying to get anything going for a first down, but Audubon really seemed to stand on business on that drive. And again, you saw basically the same philosophy in the second drive as you saw in the first. You saw run, run, pass, except in this case, the pass was incomplete as opposed to 86 yards to the house.
Audubon's doing a great job here with their rush defense. Last week, Paulsboro did rush for 1 rushing player of 176 yards.
We've got whistles if it's offsides, it won't be enough for a first down, or at least it shouldn't.
Correction, 105 yards.
They do have an offside, but this might make it 4th and 1 instead of a first down because they're lined up at the 39. We'll see where they spot this. Yeah, it's not enough. But you know what? They're taking the special teams unit off the field. Here comes back Trey Lee and company. That's a big break for Bordentown because now they don't have to punt, and they're going to continue to try to get this offense more work here for the Scotties and try to advance this possession here. Again, the more that you can wear down the defense, we saw it last night with Overbrook and Pennsville. Overbrook was on the defense pretty much the entirety of the first 6 minutes of the game. We saw 3 straight touchdowns. Pennsville went up 21-0, and then Overbrook found their way, and they're going to try to barrel through on 4th and 1, and they've got it. They got at least 2 yards on the play. They're stopped at the 30 on forward progress with 8 minutes exactly left in the first quarter. Only 4 minutes gone, and Bordentown already making their statement known. But after last night, I'm not willing to put any rumors to rest because, again, Pennsville last night with 6 minutes left in the first quarter was up 21-0, and they went on to lose the game 22-21. You never know what's going to happen here, especially in small school, high school football. That's why I like covering the Group 1s. There's a lot more versatility. There's a lot more to be asked of the players, and you see a lot more of a gritty game compared to what you might see in a Group 4 or Group 5 regional. 1st and 10 from the 30. Man in motion. Handoff to the left side, rather. Got about 2 yards. And again, Bordentown keeping it very simple. Run, run, pass. And in this case, they got it offsides to take advantage of, and 4th and 1, they barreled it through. Got the first down out of it. Now they're at the 28-yard line in Audubon territory, just inching closer and closer with every play and really trying to wear out Audubon here in this first quarter. As we said, for those just joining us, 7-0. Bordentown got on the board on an 86-yard pass to Khalil Bangura. It's the second longest touchdown pass in DWB history behind Gavin Prendergast last year for Cinnaminson. Lee finds a man right side. He's got a first down, and he's going to be taken out of bounds inside the red zone. He found Connor Bromley that time, the junior, to the right side. And Bordentown in a prime position. They'll move the sticks again. They're going to be at the 12, 13-yard line. First down, Scotties in an even better field position than they could have imagined here.
Yeah, that's a nice corner out there. Gets the man open, about 3 yards of separation, and able to get out of bounds, keep the clock running as we are in the first quarter, and they are in prime position here at the 11.
Lee in the shotgun, hands it off. Left side and in the end zone. Jose Santiago, who had over 100 yards versus Burlington City in week 1, barrels it through again. A rush for 11, and again, we talk about the little things and the fact that Audubon had that offside that prevented Bordentown, or at least encouraged them to go for it on 4th and short as opposed to a 4th and 6 punt, changes everything. That opened the door, and Bordentown's up 2 scores. It's 13-zip. So Santiago gets in the end zone. Again, they will attempt the PAT. It was successful the first time. Hold, snap, and it is into the parking lot and good. Bordentown up 14-0 here midway through the first quarter. We'll take a quick break on DWB. We'll be right back. back here on DWB. Take a look at this touchdown here. 11 yards, Jose Santiago to the house. First of all, I like this formation from Audubon on the defensive side, but, again, nothing too crazy here. It's your standard halfback handoff. They got it to the left side, and then look at all those blockers downfield. That's Bangura again, who picks up the block, gets through that rush, and then he's in the end zone, no problem. 11 yards to the house, and it's 14-0. Bordentown, as this kick will be recovered. Believe that's Pilla who comes in with it. Bang on the collision. Gregory Stalnaker, he's the one that picked up that fumble earlier. And Pilla was able to get up to the 30-yard line before he was sent down. I feel like Gregory Stalnaker is going to be a name we're going to be talking about a lot on the defensive side for Bordentown tonight, as he has made a lot of contributions early with Audubon taking over. Now looking to get an offensive drive of at least 2 plays after their first drive got coughed up very quickly. First play was a jet sweep. Mike Aversa fumbled it, and it was recovered by Gregory Stalnaker. 1st and 10 from the 30. Batillo in the shotgun, 2 receivers on both sides. Here comes the handoff. Over the middle, it's not Aversa this time. It's number 24. That would be Nolan Figueroa getting the carry.
Figueroa, a very physical guy, asked last year to play the defensive line when numbers got thin in the middle of the season due to injuries and wear and tear. He is a very tough player, and no surprise to see him on the varsity lineup.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more that a Group 1 coach likes more than a player that's willing to play anywhere, anytime. And that is something that these Group 1 coaches, no matter who you ask, will always hold dearly, because we've got penalties on the fly. Sideline warning on the Scotties. Now remember, the first penalty, the first offense for a sideline warning it's just a warning, but then the second offense is a 5-yard penalty. The third offense, I believe, is 15. 6:10 to play in the first. Although they're way back there now. I think there was a hold called, it looked like, because they're all the way back at the 20 now. I must have missed that.
Catch made by Jonah Jordan, number 7. That is a very notable change for this Audubon offense, moving
lining
from
up
the
as a tight
line.
end.
Yes.
Yeah, that was something when I was looking at my preseason previews, I was very surprised to see Jordan as a tight end, but he's a very resilient player. He has a very when I'm covering a team like Overbrook and Pennsville, it's different because when I went to Audubon High School, for those not aware. I've lived in this town for the past 19 years. I know a lot of these kids on the team, and I know how resilient they are. As Batillo gets sacked, it was either a sack or a rush of no gain. Tried to get through the offensive line that time, unable to find a gap.
3rd and long here for the Wave.
And I'm thinking of Tariq Moore last night from Overbrook, a 5'6" quarterback for the Rams who ended up being the team's leading passer and leading rusher. It was almost like they were running out of the Wildcat because half the snaps would be just direct rushes to the quarterback. It was really fascinating to see, and again, it was a big factor in Overbrook's win last night, 22-21, a team that Audubon will play later in the season. Both of those teams last night, Audubon will play, including Pennsville, 1 week from today, Saturday the 20th. Aversa in motion. They fake the jet sweep. Batillo will not get anywhere, and he is going to be down. He got a couple of yards out of it, but it's still going to be 4th and long, and I'd imagine the punt crew will come out, and indeed Theo Caladros is out for the punt, and they'll send this one away.
Yeah, first-year kicker/punter Theo Caladros, known mostly for baseball. That is the only sport he had played besides basketball in high school, and now senior year, signed to pick up the kicking job after Logan Gilbert's graduation.
Yeah, a lot of changes from this year to last. Obviously, Brayson McCracken, Logan Gilbert, handful of other names that walked in 2025, as this one is a low punt. It's going to land at midfield, and Bangura will let that one go out of bounds. Chasing that one in tow was number 1, Eric Young. And we'll have first down for Bordentown right around, again, their own 45-yard line. Actually, they're going to be closer to the 40 this time. But still, Audubon needs a stop here because they were so close to getting a stop. And then, what do you know? Offsides on the punt on 4th and 6. They move it up to 4th and 1. They barrel through, and the rest is history. 11 yards to the end zone, for Jose Figueroa. Excuse me. I don't know what I'm saying. Jose, where is he there? Jose Santiago. There we go.
Seems to be a bit of getting the jitters out for Audubon here. Once again, there's still 3 minutes and 49 seconds left in this first quarter. This game is very much still in the early stages, and there's a lot of time for Audubon here. It just feels like a feeling out process.
Bangura in motion. Handoff to Santiago. Oh, he's going to get snuffed at the line of scrimmage that time. Tackle made by number 13 on the play that time. Will Severance comes up with that one.
Yeah, a lot of young kids now on this Audubon team. In the last 2 years, they've graduated a significant amount of players, and they've had to regroup and reform, and there is a lot of freshman and sophomore presence on this field today.
I would imagine. I mean, I'm thinking of, first of all, you were a member of the class of 2025. You know how many kids on this football team or how many kids athletically graduated, especially in baseball and in basketball and the rest of it. Audubon definitely got a lot younger in this next school year, as Jose Santiago got about 4 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 3 with the first down marker at midfield.
Audubon doing a pretty solid job other than 1 or 2 plays in keeping this running game in check for Bordentown.
Yeah, I would say definitely Bordentown's not even doing a lot that's complicated. They definitely caught us off guard with that 86-yard touchdown pass. But outside of that, it's been pretty standard. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a pass here on 3rd down, because that's been what they've gone for most of the night. They've got 2 receivers deep on the near sideline. Lee does take it himself. He's going to get a first down. He's got plenty of room, and he gets tackled by a host of Audubon defenders that time, including number 17, which is Aiden Lehan. Lehan got the tackle, but it is enough for a Bordentown first down. They'll advance the ball up to the 37-yard line as we now enter the last 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's a nice pull there from the quarterback. He saw the hole. He took it, got a good 10, 15 yards there, and you can't ask for much more on a 3rd down.
No, you cannot. As it's 1st and 10, Audubon's got media walking around. There's one of their photographers, Sebastian DeVito, hanging around. He seemed quite happy we used his photo in our DWB Game Day post this morning, but 1st and 10 from the 37. High snap, handoff, left side, and he's taken down immediately in the backfield, rushed by Jacob Blanding. And the tackle made by Figueroa.
Once again gets in there. He has experience last year being on the line as a primary run stopper, and today, I mean, he's keeping it up.
Yeah, Figueroa, definitely a name that we want to watch. Somebody who has grown and built very strongly over the last couple of years, and now he finds himself in a position where he is being tasked with key offensive and defensive plays. And as you said, with injuries running this team thin last year, in what is I believe the 9th year of Dan Reed's tenure as head coach here at Audubon, they've had some good years. They've had some years they'd like to forget, and they're going to want to make this year one to remember.
Merced getting pressure.
Oh, here we go. He is taken down. Trey Lee circled around, dancing and prancing outside of the pocket. He was way back there, and he's going to get sacked with a goose chase that time. Yvonne Merced comes in with the tackle, and that is going to be 3rd and long. Looks like it's going to be 3rd and about 16 or 17 from the 44. As, again, Merced was dead red on Trey Lee that time. Came in. He was all the way back at the 50-yard line, was able to get a couple of yards, but it still counts as a sack for Yvonne Merced, who came in from behind and took him down.
Yeah,
Great
almost
play.
20 yards back from the line of scrimmage there at the peak of his time in the backfield. Merced able to stay on him and finish the play.
And that's the one thing we see high schoolers struggle with, is just throwing the ball away when they don't have a receiver that they can hit. They do get it to Santiago. Hoff takes him down. Diggy Hoff comes in with the tackle, and now Bordentown seems like they are far out of reach here for this drive.
A lot of emotion from Hoff there. It feels like Audubon's defense is really starting to get their wits about them, and maybe Audubon will find themselves on offense this incoming drive.
Yeah, we'll have to see with the end of the first quarter right here. It's Bordentown 14, Audubon 0. When we return, it looks like Bordentown will bring the punt crew out on 4th and long. Here in the second quarter, that's a shot from Audubon's downtown Merchant Street. This broadcast is brought to you by DAWG Pro Wrestling, New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. For more information, you can visit dawgprowrestling.com. Also, this broadcast is brought to you by Gray Fox Sports. Enhance your sports photography with the best of the business in South Jersey. Visit grayfoxsports.net or Gray Fox Sports on Instagram for more information.
Pilla back set to receive this punt here on 4th and long. Snapped, kicked.
Here we go with Pilla back at the 10-yard line. No fair catch. I wonder if Bordentown got duped into thinking that was a fair catch because right on him was Aiden Peters, but he let him go. And Audubon will start this second quarter at their own 20. We have whistles after the play. Let's see.
Yeah, I wonder if they thought his knee might have gone down too.
Either
right
his knee or if he had, because Peters let up after chasing Aaron Pilla. So I'm thinking that maybe he either inadvertently signaled for a fair catch, or if his knee was down, because they're now back at around the 10-yard line. So I definitely think it was one of those two scenarios. Audubon down 2 scores, though, looking to get back into the end zone. Again, Bordentown and Audubon, think about it, only 15 combined points between these two in last year's game, 8-7 the final. This year, not exactly looking the same. As again, I'm Dan Wilkins, joined in the booth by Audubon grad himself. Well, I'm an Audubon grad, but Gavin Van Rel of Stockton in the booth as handoff. No, it is faked. That was an odd play, and it's going to lose them 4 yards. They had Micah Versa way back there on the man in motion, and then as he tried to rush the line of scrimmage, they either faked the handoff or missed the timing. And now they'll set up 2nd and 14. They're back at the 6-yard line here in these first couple of plays of the second quarter. Audubon's just going to have to get into a groove here. I don't know how much more I can stress that Audubon needs to just get a couple of first downs, because it only takes a little bit to get that momentum in groove. And as long as you can do that, you can be smooth sailing. But we'll see if Patillo, I wouldn't be surprised at the 6-yard line if he tries to go to the air.
Audubon with only 1 or 2 positive plays on offense.
And that's not going to be one of them. They're going to get back to the line of scrimmage and nothing more. Patillo gets taken down. I'm surprised that they're keeping him for QB keeps, though. I'm a little bit surprised by that. But they're now opting for 3rd and 14 again. I think they're right back at around the 5. And if you have a bad snap, you're going to be risking a safety. And also, imagine if they don't get a play here. If they don't get a good play here and you punt, you have to make sure that snap is good, because those trees in the back of the end zone will come up on you quickly. 2 receivers to the right for Audubon. Patillo back in the shotgun. Patillo takes the snap. He is back on the goal line. He's going to be in trouble. He does let a pass go, and it's picked off. Khalil Bangura. He's going to be still on his feet. He's towards the sideline. He spins. He dances. He's at the goal line, and he is 1 yard short of a pick 6. Bordentown gets the pick, and Bangura doing it all on both sides of the ball.
That's a fantastic read there. He saw Jordan coming over the middle, jumped in front of there. It feels like Audubon's on the cusp of something every drive, and then some little play just takes it over.
Let's take a look at that replay real quick on the interception by Bangura. Oh, that's the last play. Excuse me. We'll load that up when we get a chance. We'll wait a couple minutes, and we'll get that one rolling as Khalil Bangura already putting himself in the spotlight here at Bendorf-Narducci Memorial Field. He got the party started with an 86-yard receiving touchdown in the first quarter. Just 2 minutes in, and now he adds on to his resume with a pick. And they're only about a yard or 2 away, and they got it. First play, first score. Touchdown, Bordentown. And Bordentown is going to town. They're up 20-0 here in the second quarter as they put up 3 scores already. And they're going to try to go for another PAT to make this one 21-0. As what a resilient effort by Bordentown so far tonight. Here's the PAT again from Schwartz. 9:53 to play. 9:49 to play in the second. Schwartz gets it, and that one is up and over the trees onto the baseball field below. And Khalil Bangura sets up an easy touchdown for Bordentown. That's one of the easiest touchdowns you'll ever get. 1 yard, 1 play, and Bordentown is in the end zone for a third time to make it 21-zip. As we'll take a look at that replay right there, again with the touchdown, with the pick six. Here's the play here that really surprised me here, because we'll look at Jonah Jordan. He's on the left side of your screen. Bangura reads this perfectly, because look at where Batillo passes here. He's in trouble, and he's on the goal line, so he has to pass, and then Jordan's on the left side. Bangura just read that perfectly. Unable to get anything going, and then he breaks a tackle, and then watch this spin move going on right here. He goes to the right and then dances, gets around, and then he almost got into the end zone for a pick six that time, but he was able to get all the way to the 1 yard line, and that's what mattered. 1 play, and we find another rushing touchdown for Bordentown to make this a 21-0 ball game here in the second quarter. Now remember, Overbrook was down 21-0 last night in the second. Or no, they were down 21-0 in the first, and then they started their comeback before the end of the first quarter. So I don't know. This game's not over, but Audubon will definitely have to find their groove. And if not, it's going to be a very tough halftime break for Dan Reed, Dan Cosenza, and the rest of this Audubon staff. And it might be a rough second half if they're unable to find a little bit of morale to get themselves going here in week 2.
It certainly doesn't feel like Audubon's out of it yet.
They do kick it out of bounds at the 25 rather. Go ahead.
It's been a still feeling out process. Now in the second quarter, you have to figure it out. You can't feel it out. And Audubon's going to need to score here at least once before half to even have a chance of feeling momentum.
Yeah, and again, that momentum just doesn't come from a halftime break. You know, it's not like the Disney movies where the head coach comes out, he goes into the locker room, he's all riled up, he's all fired up, and he inspires the team to make a comeback and make a stand. Well, real life is not like the movies, and you really need to make something happen to get any kind of progress going. And, again, we saw Audubon last year versus Pennsville. They lost that game 42-0, but they still had some bright spots. They still had some silver linings. Right now, again, new starting quarterback. They're going to have the next 2 years with Noah Batillo at least, or I should say because he's a junior, they'll have the next 2 years with him. They've got a decent amount of time to develop him.
Play action.
Batillo taking it himself on the QB keeper. They faked the handoff, and Batillo was the lone reception as he gets himself 7 yards, 6 or 7 yards, and he'll get himself up to the 41.
A few hands around the helmet there. I'm not sure if they were looking for a face mask, but Batillo did stay on the ground for a second, came up with the shoulder pad undone over the jersey.
One thing I'm noticing today, not too much of a student section crowd on hand, but students are still filing in with the morning kickoff. Again, Audubon, one of the few fields remaining in South Jersey, did not have any lights, so playing on this Saturday morning. They bring in temporary lights for one game a year. This year it's versus Collingswood. They faked the pitch. Aversa got right up to the first down marker, up to the 45, and they will say, by a hair, it's enough for a Green Wave first down.
Yeah, in due time. I mean, Audubon needed something like this to get it going.
They've got an Audubon player down. I think that might be Aversa. So Aversa receiving some attention. We'll take a brief break. 8:41 in the second quarter. This is Bordentown Scotties 21, the Audubon Green Wave 0. over there, the K. Azar tennis courts and the Audubon field house. 1st and 10. Batillo takes it himself. He's going to pass. He's hit as he throws, and he's got a man.
Mike Aversa. Oh.
No, that was number 2, Michael DeLuca, making the play. Remember, Aversa could not be on the field for that play because he had the injury timeout, so he had to sit at least one play. And again,
the new freshman Mike.
Yeah, Mike DeLuca, the freshman wideout. Again, that's a gamble for a coach to make. Now he lines up for a second. It looked like he lined up for a second play in a row here on offense. Picks up the reception, picks up the first down. We'll see if Dan Reed likes what he sees and if they choose to keep going with him. And what I'll notice as well, Nolan Figueroa, man that we've talked about before, also lining up in the backfield as a running back. Trips left for Audubon. Good snap read by that left edge. It's caught by Figueroa, and he's pushed out of bounds. That's a short sideline. Got to be careful with that one. Tackle made by number 21, Taji Hill. Wonder if we've got a hold going on here.
Something I do notice, Jude Cotter is now warming up.
I believe he's a freshman, number 4. Cotter's a sophomore, excuse me. See where this penalty is. Never mind. Okay, so no flags on the play. Must have saw something different. But again, Hill had the tackle. Figueroa had the catch for 5 yards. They send DeLuca in motion. They hand it off to the sophomore. He's got room on the left side. He's going to get a first down. Good first impression. Mike DeLuca, welcome to the Green Wave. He gets himself a first down. He's had a touch, a reception, and a lot of smiling faces in the home crowd as he gets himself a lot of positive yards there. Audubon on the doorstep of the red zone. They're inside the 25. They're going to line up at the 22-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Green Wave.
Audubon finally driving here, getting something going after a grueling first quarter.
I think they just needed something to wake up, and sometimes you need a change of personnel to wake people up. It's nothing personal, but sometimes you need some different people on the line. You need different people lined up in different spots, and you got to see what will work. This is your first home game of the year. It's a long season ahead, and you've got a tough opponent in Pennsville coming up next week. Batillo going back to talk to his man. That was the running back, Ben Ellis. Got another freshman lined up. They fake the handoff to Ellis. Batillo clotheslined by his number 11 counterpart.
Ball came out, was scooped up by the offensive line, but
number 11 making a good show out of that, Devone Johnson.
And Audubon has a player down.
Yeah, Audubon had a player down. The ball got coughed up. There were a lot of hard hits on that line. Everybody coming together at once.
Looks to be
somebody's yelling for water on the sideline, so.
Liam King?
Not sure. That is number 50. I think that's just number 50. I think that's Liam King that's down. Stay tuned for the DWB halftime program, the DWB Archive Show, where we show you the best of the best from the last 4 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. From walk-off hits to game-winning shots to everything in between, the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives program shows you the best of the best in our 550-plus broadcast history. I believe we're on 568, I think. So by the end of the football season, combined with all of our soccer broadcasts, we will definitely get to 600. But to think about the fact that we had reached 500 in April in a baseball game between Gateway and Pittman, we could very well be getting to 600 very soon. Also, stay tuned for Sunday, October 5th. That is, we won't have any athletic games scheduled, but we will be running a special hour-long program to honor the 4th anniversary of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, where chronologically we'll show you the best that has ever happened on our live streams from our first paid gig, the WJYFL Championships in 2021, all the way up to the best highlights of the 2025 football season so far.
Man in motion out to the right. It is Aversa. Throw
That
to
is
Figueroa.
caught. Figueroa. He's got
space.
room. Here comes Figueroa. He's at the goal line, and he's down. It's good. It's a touchdown. Green Wave. They're on the board. Audubon strikes before the half. They've still got 6.5 minutes as Nolan Figueroa makes a mad dash to the end zone. Gets 22 yards. And Audubon After seeming like they were dead in the water for the first half of this game, they come to life with easily their best offensive drive yet, and they are going to go for the PAT. Batillo, the starting quarterback, will hold. Theo Caladros will kick. And we'll see if Caladros can boot this one in the parking lot. We've got penalty flags.
Very well-designed play there for the touchdown. You see the man of Versa go out
12
to the
men
right.
on the field for Audubon. They might have 13 on the field. The extra man was Rocco Kaufman. So that will push it back 5 yards. They're going to line this one up from the 9, because it's a 5-yard penalty. They're still going to attempt the PAT. Again, Group 1 high school football, not known for its kicking specialties, but the junior Caladros looking to make an impact. Good snap, good hold, and he's got it. Logan Gilbert, you might have competition in the Audubon kicking world, because Theo Caladros just banged that one for an extra point even after a penalty. We'll take a quick break. Actually, no, we'll go to the replay real quick. We'll see what this play was all about, because a 24-yard touchdown here, he just dumps it off to Figueroa, and he found a lot of room. Huge props to Figueroa for finding that defensive space and just filling that right up. Got down, and I thought he might have been down at the 1, but they did say it was good for a 22-yard touchdown. Nolan Figueroa gets the reception, and he will get into the end zone to make this one 21-7 here in the midway of the second quarter. Don't forget, we'll also see Audubon after the weekend on Monday, September 15th, in a battle between the Colonial Conference and the Tri-County Conference from Alcyon Park. It's the Audubon Green Wave and the Pittman Panthers in boys soccer action at 4 o'clock. We've got more JUCO soccer on Tuesday, the 16th of September, between the Middlesex Colts and the RCSJ Gloucester Roadrunners in men's soccer action. Another kickoff at 4. And then after that, we've got esports from Lime Rock Park in Bristol, Connecticut. It's BPNR, their 8th race of the season, starting at 8:30 p.m. Shallock grad Alex Mullen will be on the call for that one from 8:30 p.m. Again, more esports action from the road course, the 1.5-mile road course up in central Connecticut. That's also on Tuesday, September 16th, as Caladros, after booting the extra point, sends it away. It'll stay in play for the Bordentown returner. That will again be the man we've called his name a lot tonight. Khalil Bangura gets the return up to the 32. And Bordentown will start their drive with 6:28 to play in the half. In a 21-7 game, but it finally seems like this home crowd and this home team has a little bit of life.
First and 10, Scotties.
6 minutes and 30 seconds just about to play in this quarter. And heading into half, Audubon, if they can get a stop here and get one more score, this game is very much alive. That drive was very necessary to keep them in it. And let's see on this first play.
Lee throws it behind him. Now they're going to go
It's
for
a
the
flea
double
flicker.
pass. Oh, too much on it. That was so close to being a Sports Center highlight, as Jamari Glover was the intended receiver. I had a feeling with how far back they were attempting that. Got a page out of the Julian Edelman book as they go for a flea flicker, but just a little too much, and it's incomplete, 2nd and 10.
That's very, very well played.
No, for what it's worth, even though that was an incompletion, I'll give them their flowers. That was very well designed.
It was
Seems like they've
executed
practiced
to
that before.
perfection, most certainly.
If that pass was, again, it was a little bit overthrown, but again, you're not throwing it to the quarterback. I think that pass was made, the second pass was made by Khalil Bangura. So imagine if he would have a rush, a reception, and a pass.
Reminiscent of Tom Brady against the Eagles all those years ago.
Indeed. Well, also Nick Foles and Trey Burton. Timeout called by the Bordentown Scotties. We'll take a quick break. We actually forgot to put the timeout markers up on the board, but that's my fault. First of the day for either side. Bordentown calls their first, and we'll be right back. 6:22 to play in the first half. 21-7, 6 and a change left in the second quarter. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Gavin Van Rel on the call today. David Cohen producing. Lee pump fakes, throws it deep. It's Bangura. He's got it. He's at the 48-yard line. Young tried to break it up, but Khalil Bangura going through the air a second time for a big gain, and Bordentown continuing to counter Audubon's remarks. And they get themselves way downfield this time for a gain of 25. They're at the 48. All the way on the other side of the field, first down, Bordentown.
Yeah, that's a little deceptive there. It looks like that play went for a lot further than it should have, but the quarterback was very deep in the backfield there before he made that throw.
Yeah, Lee wasn't that far, or I should say Lee was pretty far back, and then Bangura was the guy on the right side. Young was covering him, and that's a very interesting situation there. I-form for the Scotties. They hand it off to the back. Santiago. He will get stopped for a gain of 1, if not neutral. Now they'll get about a 1.5 yard gain that time. But again, Bordentown's been switching it up. They started out the game with a simple rush pass situation, and now they've had to go a little bit more non-conventional. They throw to Bangura that time, who again is somebody that has been lighting up the box score pretty much all night because of the fact that he's been just so good in getting those receptions downfield. He's been the big-time player, even if he won't have that many receptions tonight. Diving incompletion that time on the right side, intended for number 10, Connor Bromley.
This is a very pivotal third down here for the Audubon defense. If they can hold up and get a punt or even a turnover here, either way, if they're able to force the offense to come back on the field, this is a huge moment for them.
Well, Bangura in week 1 in the 20-14 loss to Burlington City only had 1 reception for 7 yards. Last year, as a junior, he had 7 receptions, 75 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I'll tell you this, he also went 2 for 4 with passing and 121 yards. I would say that's not the first time they've attempted that flea flicker play. Lee with a leaping pass over the middle. He's got the screen. He finds Bromley. It is complete up to the 40. It's going to be 4th and short, and I would imagine Bordentown wants to keep the offense on the field, and another Audubon player is down in Lehan.
Number 10, Britt, does a really good job there of keeping the guy from extending his arms and getting that first down. So Audubon will have a chance to get the turnover here, and that's well in part due to Will Britt there.
Yeah, William Britt making the play that time. And again, Audubon's defense really needing to step up. It's 4th and short. Again, unless you get a false start on that punt, wouldn't be surprised if Bordentown tries to go for it. They're just that kind of aggressive archetype that's really been playing well today.
Still a good amount of time in this quarter. I would not put it past Bordentown to go for it here if they feel their defense can step up. Number 17, Aiden Lehan for Audubon getting back up. That's good to see. He will have to take a play off, though.
Yeah, again, that's what we were talking about earlier. Audubon had to really scramble for some extra personnel earlier in their offensive drive, where they found Michael DeLuca for a first down. And then, again, it was a good first impression. It was enough to get him another handoff, and now Bordentown will keep the offense on the field. Trey Lee is going to be under center, so I'd imagine on 4th and 3, wouldn't be surprised with 3 men in a triangle in the backfield if they're just going to try to barrel it through. Trying to pack the house. It will get stopped, but is it enough? It's going to be close. They're going to say no. Bordentown turns over on downs, and Audubon will have another chance with 4 minutes 13 in the first half.
That's
big.
Absolutely what Audubon's been looking for. The touchdown originally is huge before halftime, but now if they can get 2 and get it within a 1-possession game with getting the ball coming into halftime, they are primed for something much bigger than we might have thought going into the second quarter.
I would say as well, don't be surprised if Audubon gets into the end zone. I'd like to see them try to go for 2. Try to get a little bit extra leverage, and if you don't get it, it's still an 8-point game, but I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. We've got whistles, maybe a timeout, or no, we have a flag in the backfield. Delay of game on Audubon.
Another sideline warning.
On
Bordentown, and that is the original second penalty.
Was that a second sideline warning? So that's what we were talking about earlier. That was a second sideline warning for Bordentown, and that results in a 5-yard penalty, 1st and 5. 45. Over the middle, caught by the tight end on the left side, Jonah Jordan. He is down past midfield, and he's got a first down. Again, I mean, that sideline warning actually really helps Audubon because they didn't need that many yards to get across. It was 1st and 5. The momentum is really playing into their hands now. Again, you know, we talk about home field advantage. Well, Audubon plays on this field all the time, and it's such a good facility to be at here in Audubon. And obviously being here as an alma mater grad, here we go.
Deep
Patillo
shot.
overshot Jonah Jordan. Or no, excuse me, Micah Versa. And it's incomplete. Just overthrown that time. I don't mind doing that, though. I think that that's an aggressive play that, again, they've had a decent amount of good plays on the offensive side, and timeout will be called by Bordentown, their second on the defensive side this afternoon. We'll take a quick break. It's 3:39 left in quarter number 2. Bordentown 21, Audubon 7. Back at Audubon High School, Bordentown burned their second timeout of the day. It's 2nd and 10 after an incompletion. They're on the 49 in opposing territory. Man in motion, left side, that's Jordan. Gets a good jump. They do find Jordan. One hand! His helmet popped off. Did he make that catch like Jason Witten?
Grab.
He made the catch. His helmet came off, and he made the catch anyway.
That's just about the type of player Jonah Jordan is in one play. He will have to take a play off here, but
because
that's
the helmet.
He hates.
That's worth it, though.
A 4-year varsity starter, and he has taken every role that he's been offered. He is.
And again, his first year lining up as a tight end this year with all the personnel changes. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough for a first down. But if they get a first down, credit that to Jonah Jordan for his versatility. And again, he's upset that he'll have to take a sideline off. I think they barreled through. They were at the 41. They get 3 yards. First down. Real quick. Replay here. This play to Jonah Jordan as we came back. You can see they sent Jordan in motion there on the left side. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. So Jordan went in motion, and then watch. He gets a really good start here on the snap, and then he just finds him straight away. That was the design. One hand, helmet pops off. I can't say I've seen that before. That was...
Yeah, that play
was shocking.
Really reminds me of Charlie Grady, the old tight end, the kind of play he would make physicality-wise.
Yeah, that's just pure physicality that time from the senior. DeLuca way back. DeLuca. Oh, I thought he might have tried to pass there. Lowers the shoulder.
The Audubon crowd very loud looking for a holding call there.
I didn't see it personally.
Coach Hallboys, the offensive line coach, very vocal.
And that's what you're going to be. I mean, Audubon's a team that is, as a coaching staff, we've learned from our experience with them, they've always been very vocal, and they're not going to be afraid to call something out when it happens.
Yeah, and as a player, that is what you look for when you can have your coaches back you up there.
Yeah, that's something, as program builders. Obviously we talk about Tony Carbone, the retired athletic director, got taken over this year by Christopher Baker, the former assistant for Dan Antonelli at Clayton. And a lot of what Carbone hired was in-house guys. like Dan Reed.
Oh, look at Batillo.
Here is Batillo. Pump faked. He will get some yards out of it. Ooh, he got hit late. How is there not a flag that time? He got pushed out of bounds, and there's not a lot of space there. He almost got rammed into the fence.
Very
It's going to be
Carson
3rd and
Wentz-esque
6.
from him to avoid the tackles in the backfield and get about 5 or 6 yards out of that.
Yeah, he got out of bounds, but, I mean, he was shoved well after he got out of bounds, and it's not like these fields where, I mean, you know the Audubon Athletic Facility. Look at how tight the space is down there. There is not a lot of room. There's maybe about 8 feet, if I had to guess, between that white line and that chain link fence. And I don't care if you're in pads. It's not good to hit a chain link fence. That should have been a penalty. Batillo will go to pass. He goes to the air. He's got DeLuca. He's got him inside the 10-yard line. Michael DeLuca will get into the red zone and a first down. Aversa. Mike Aversa.
2 Mikes.
Yeah. You got Mike and Ike. How about Mike and Mike? Noah Batillo to Mike Aversa. As he finds himself inside the 10-yard line, they're at the 8 with 1:15 to play in the first half. And now time is called. I believe Audubon does burn their first timeout.
Yeah, and you talk about that chain link fence. What I remember most of that is a few years back, I remember a punching given to that fence during a soccer game.
Believe I remember that as well. Was that the Haddon Township Audubon game?
That was the Haddon Township Audubon
game. That was a weird game because it was a playoff game at, I believe it was 10 o'clock in the morning. It was in 2023 because
24, I believe.
No, it was 23.
Was it?
It was 2023 because listen, with DWB, this is a little Easter egg. This is a little secret. You can tell the year of the broadcast by the score bug because we change it every year, and it was that 2023 score bug. I remember that very well. But my point is, before I gloat too much, that I remember that game very distinctly because that was the only other time outside of a random powder puff game that we had broadcasted a game up from this booth. And what I remember was that it was weird because this game was always played on the Green Wave turf down the street. But I digress. 1st and goal, Audubon. They are lined up at the 7-yard line. We talked about needing 1 score before the half. They might get 2 birds with 1 stone and pick up a second touchdown before the halftime break. DeLuca in motion from well downtown. He gets a handoff left side. He will get right back to the line of scrimmage, and a host of Scotties fall on him. Audubon does have all 3 timeouts, depending on how they want to use them.
Yeah, he might have even lost a yard there.
Excuse me, 2 timeouts. They have 2 remaining. They're under a minute to play. 55 seconds and counting. They got to get going here.
Clock is running. Very lackadaisical here, it feels.
Especially if you want to get in that end zone. You will get the ball to start the second half, but they have to get this going. They send another man in motion. Aversa, who had that big play. Now Batillo rolls out to the right. He stops, fires too far. Incomplete, intended for Jordan. Just too high on that one, but that does stop the clock. It'll be 3rd and goal back from the 9. So it stops with 33 seconds exactly.
I wonder if you'd think about running it with Figueroa here.
Get another big gain.
Much like his first rush, which was for a touchdown. He's a very physical player, much like Jordan. And here, the pass game might not be working in the end zone. You got to think out of the box here. You still have 33 seconds left. You can afford.
And again, you still have 2 of your timeouts. So it's.
And now you have 1 of your timeouts.
Yeah, they're going to burn it here. I don't think that they were exactly on the same page. Audubon takes a timeout, and so will we. 33 seconds to play in the second quarter. It's Bordentown 21, Audubon 7. Timeout called by Audubon. They have one remaining, and I would say they have to use it wisely. It's 3rd and goal. Batillo in the shotgun, Figueroa deep in the backfield. He looks for Figueroa. Now he has to pass. He has to get it over. DeLuca's got it. He breaks. He's throw. He's at the goal line. What a break by Michael DeLuca. He's in the end. Michael Aversa. He's in the end zone. Touchdown Audubon. 2 birds, 1 stone, and it's a 1-score game here at Audubon. How about that? A 9-yard mad dash breaking through the barriers, and Bordentown back against the wall in a 21-13 game.
Yeah, that is a huge drive for Audubon, utilizing both Mikes, DeLuca and Aversa there on the drive. Aversa being the one to come with the score, and now Caladros up to kick to make it a 7-point game.
8 points now. We'll see if the extra point makes it 7, and Caladros, 2 for 2. Theo Caladros, the place kicker for Audubon, makes this a 7-point game. Well, Gavin, it was a 21-0 Pennsville lead last night in the first quarter when Overbrook scored first and made it 21-8. The final score of that game was 22-21. I'm getting inklings of this tonight. Bordentown up 21-0. Looked like we were going to be headed for another blowout, but I'll tell you this, we've got a good one on our hands.
14 unanswered points from Audubon. They found the spark, and they are putting it together here.
Here's the replay, 9-yard touchdown. Again, I don't think that you look at where Noah Batillo's head is. I think he was 100% intending to go to Nolan Figueroa, but he wasn't open. And then that offensive line collapsed so quickly that Batillo had to rush, dump it off to Aversa, breaks 1, breaks a 2nd, and then right there dives at the goal line, got hit late too, and then finds himself into the end zone to make it 21-13. Man, what a good break there. I mean, this has been so physical for Audubon. They've really scored. I mean, 2 of their touchdowns have come from just physicality alone. That probably, if anybody else other than Mike Aversa gets that ball, I don't know. They might not have scored. They might not have gotten into the end zone on that play, but they make efficient use of their time. They still reserved that last timeout, and with 23 seconds left, it's 21-14. Caladros over the middle. Oh, he touched it.
Again.
Yeah, Bordentown touched it that time, but now they're going to find a little bit of space.
A lot of space.
Caladros, last man standing. Now it's brought down. Eric Young gets the tackle. And Khalil Bangura gets it right at midfield. Again, Caladros tried to get a tackle as the place kicker. Eric Young came down and made the tackle that time. And now Bordentown will have maybe time for 1, maybe 2 plays. They've got 15 seconds. They're at the 47. They have 1 timeout.
And that's where the inexperience kind of comes into play. Theo Caladros, a first-year football player.
I can't blame him for trying to make that tackle, though.
His second game, the fundamental tackling skills are not fully there, so you lose about 5 or 10 yards before Eric Young comes in to make that tackle.
Audubon called their final timeout. We'll stay on the air. Again, don't forget at halftime, stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives program, where we will show you the best of the best from the last 4 years of DWB, from highlights from 2021 when I was a small sophomore in high school at Audubon to now today in 2025. And also with about 5 minutes left in halftime, we'll return for the DWB halftime show presented by Gray Fox Sports. Our schedule for this week on DWB, on Monday we've got boys soccer down in Pittman. Also the Audubon Green Wave versus the Pittman Panthers. And then men's soccer on Tuesday versus the Middlesex Colts and the RCSJ Gloucester Roadrunners. Thursday, September 18th, we've got more WJFL football in Triton in Runnymede, a battle between the ACIT Redhawks and the Triton Mustangs. Friday, we go down to Woolwich Township for a battle between Delsey and Kingsway. And then Saturday, we start our first of 4 with Woodbury. Our first of 4 contracted games with Woodbury High School this year. It's the state champions in Group 1, the Glassboro Bulldogs, versus the Woodbury Thundering Herd. 6 p.m. kickoff for Thursday and Friday, 11 a.m. for Saturday. Bordentown will not try to go to the air. I thought maybe they would try to extend their lead, but no worth in getting themselves in trouble. And at the end of the first half, it is Bordentown 21, Audubon 14. And as Bordentown started to get away with this one, Audubon's resiliency and their physicality took control. And they're only down by 1 score going into the half. So the Green Wave 14, the Scotties 21. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll be back in about 15 minutes for the halftime show and much more here from Bendorf Narducci Memorial Field. Folks, we are back home at the alma mater, 21-14 at half.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well.
The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside.
It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need.
And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives.
If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Jack Mastero, 2 for 3 with a strikeout, a double, and a single. Looking to play hero. He's going to line this one into right center field, and that's going to drop. That's going to do it if they don't get a throw down. Mastero's going to second, and Danza's coming home. Sectional champions, Gloucester Catholic. They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable.
Jersey is the number 2 seed. As we said, they beat Manville 19-0 in the first round, which was even larger than Audubon's 16-0 win over Paulsboro as the 1 seed in the first round. That one's hit out towards center field straight away. Oh, she misjudged it. Got over her head in center field. Now this one's got a chance to be 3 bases for Spire. She's flying around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is not in time. What a way to kick off a semifinal with an inside the park home run. Emma Spire, who will take her talents to the Great Danes after 2026, lights up the scoreboard with a fly ball that got misjudged in center field.
Late switch for the visitors. Again inside their 5. Oh, they're going to pitch this one back for the flea flicker. Touchdown, West! Oh, my goodness! Taking inspiration from Nick Foles and Trey Burton. I think they just pulled off the Philly special. That is the greatest touchdown I have ever seen. Well, maybe not the greatest touchdown I've ever seen. Maybe that's stretching a little bit, but one of the greatest touchdowns we've seen in a long time. And it's a tie game.
Graham. It gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with no goal scored. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do? It's a lead extending goal for Justin Lewis.
So after the holding call to be 1st and 20, as now rolling out to the right side, he's got a little bit of room to run on a QB rush. He's going to get a first down. There's no flags, and how about this for 61 yards? Anthony Gaetano with a QB rush that works to perfection. He hugs the sideline, and Anthony Gaetano gets the scoring started for the Red Hawks at 7-6.
Uplight, he's, again, one time leaving the bases loaded is frustrating enough. Doing it twice in a row. Oh, how about this? Line drive. No, he's throwing it around the infield. They're going to throw him out at first. He's out. I have never seen that before. That is a 5-4-3 ground out because the third baseman thought he caught it. The home plate umpire said no, so he threw it around the infield and then got the out at first anyway because the batter thought he was out.
The batter stopped. The third baseman thought
Everybody
he caught
stopped.
it, and it touched.
Back here in Audubon, halftime 21-14. I'm Dan Wilkins, Gavin Van Rel joining me, David Cohen producing. This has been a very good game for both sides. Bordentown went up 21-0 in the first quarter, in the first half. Audubon crawling their way back with two very successful drives, including a lot of highlight reel-worthy plays and 2 touchdowns to go down by 1 score at the half. This has been a very good game, and I would say kind of a renaissance game for this Audubon receiving core. They found a lot of guys downfield. They really got to utilize their tight end, Jonah Jordan, along with Michael DeLuca and Micah Versa. Really good first half for Audubon after a rocky start.
Yeah, that's a really good come-around for Audubon. I can't state just enough how big that last possession was to score a touchdown. At this point, coming in, you get the ball now at half. If they can score here, the full momentum swing is unbelievable. And what that does to a team when right out of half you lose your possession.
Right. And Audubon will receive to start the second half. So it is all on their side. If they were down 21-7, I think we'd have a little bit of hope for them, but I think it will be a little bit more constrained. Here, I fully believe that Audubon can come back and tie and even take the lead in this third quarter just because of how fired up they are. They seemed dead in the water in the first quarter. I get that 86-yard pass to that was Bordentown's number 3, Khalil Bangura. He was just unstoppable in the first half, had a lot of big plays, had a lot of big receptions, and now Bordentown back against the wall with Audubon receiving to start the second half.
Yeah, I expect Audubon to keep up the same pace they're going at now. The occasional deep shot has proven to work for the most part. They found open men downfield, and if they can hit one of those, I could see even first play out of half them taking a shot here just for the sake of it to see if it lands.
Just for the sake of getting that momentum going. We're going to flip this camera back around. We've got the third quarter of play coming up to you here from Audubon in just a second. We'll be right back. Oh, hold on here. Got to fix that camera. Hold on here. Having an issue with our camera, folks. Oh, I think we're back in some capacity, but it's very bright. Let's fix that real quick as Bordentown's going to kick this one off. Sent on the ground. That's going to be out to the 27. Returned by number 17, Aiden Lehan, and he's going to give Audubon their first possession of the second half at the 40.
Yeah, that's Lehan's second return of the day. He's gotten some pretty good yardage on those ground ball kicks.
Bordentown's done a few of them tonight. They've had a couple of kicks on the ground, and now they put themselves in a very good situation. I don't know what to tell you. That was we've seen some great plays. Jonah Jordan making a one-handed catch with his helmet off. I mean, are you kidding me? I don't know what to tell you. Aversa in motion deep in the backfield. He will get that rush, and he'll get 2 or 3 yards up to the 44. Second and 8 for the Green Wave.
Yeah, it was great to see the replay of that on my phone on Instagram. A media personnel down there posted that already. You get a different view. And that's really the culmination of a big media renaissance in New Jersey sports, especially South Jersey here the past few years. Younger people getting into it, and it's a really, really nice new feel for sports.
We have a player down for Audubon on the far side, but what I will say to piggyback off your point is that I think also, like my dad, he was born in 1972. He graduated from Hamilton West up in Mercer County in 1990, and he went to Trenton State, graduated in 1994. He wanted to be a sports broadcaster, but a lot of people in his family convinced him to be a music teacher, and eventually he went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And what was interesting for that was, again, it was a different era. And now we're in an era where anybody can buy a camera, anybody can be a photographer, anybody can be that kind of guy to be media personnel. And it doesn't take too much to be somebody important in the broadcasting business these days. And now, we have a whole lot of videographers. I mean, thank goodness we are around. I'm not trying to gloat, but I'm saying we are one of the few independent broadcasters in South Jersey. Obviously, a school-affiliated broadcast is fine, but I think you'll notice I try to hold my biases for Audubon aside. Audubon has appeared on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting 151 times since 2021. The next place team, Gloucester, with 29. That's 130 differences, as, again, Aversa was the one that was down that time on the far sideline. But, yeah, we are really – we're experiencing a media renaissance pretty much everywhere, but it seems to be all good because these photographers, these videographers, they are putting underrated teams, underrated players. They're putting them on a pedestal. They're putting them on a spotlight, and that's always welcome because before, these scouts would have to come out. They would have to recruit these players. Now you have huddle tape. Now you have all of this film that can be used to get these players good reps. Michael DeLuca made the catch that time on a trips right formation, came into the middle and got a couple of yards, had a little bit of hesitation, though, and he'll get stopped at the 46. It'll be 3rd and short.
Patillo was knocked to the ground there. It took a second getting up.
Yeah, Patillo got knocked as he threw. So it'll be 3rd and 4. And at the moment, we stand with a 21-14 game. 2 receivers on each side for the Green Wave. 1 safety up for Bordentown. They pass to Jordan. He will break a tackle. He's got a first down, and he's out at the sideline, barrels into the Bordentown sideline at the 40.
Stiff arms a player on the sidelines for Bordentown. There is nobody in his way that will not feel his wrath at this point. I mean, he is looking to go through anybody. If he saw a referee that's wearing white like Bordentown, I would not put it past him to roll through him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jonah Jordan, again, lining up for his first year as a tight end, and again, after being a lineman for all these years, he finds himself in a position where he is really being asked to do a lot on both sides of the ball. Again, his primary position being listed as tight end and defensive lineman. He's listed as 6'3", 240 pounds. Again, when I was younger, I remember him being a scrawny freshman in high school. He has worked so hard to get to this point and be a key player for this Audubon offense. Here's right side, Figueroa on the pitch. He'll break through a couple of tackles, but Bangura is the one to take him down. He is going to get 4 yards on the play up to the 42, and now Figueroa is down, reaching for that right calf.
Yeah, he seemed to sense it right when the play ended, shaking his head at Coach Walsh there on the sidelines for Audubon, the former wrestling coach.
A lot of cramps today. I'll tell you that much, a lot of cramps. And saw it on Thursday between Highland and Pennsauken. Cramp City. Usually cramp week is week 0 when the weather is hottest. It's only 77 degrees today. We had pretty much consistent weather all week. It was 73 on Thursday. It was 71 yesterday. It's going to be a high of 78 today. And right now, as we are just 2 minutes into the third quarter, Audubon still driving and Jonah Jordan getting a first down. This game has almost entirely been turned on its head.
This is beautiful football weather, like you said. I mean, the last few weeks have been undeniably really nice, other than the 88-degree day out of nowhere.
Well, what do we have later this week? We're going to have rain on Wednesday, but it's going to be anywhere between 80 and, well, it's going to be between 75 and 82 rest of this week. Summer's not over. I mean, it's technically over because the kids are in school, but the weather still feels pretty nice. It's one of the reasons why September is one of my favorite months of the year, because it's not too hot, it's not too cold. And then we'll be doing a football game at Thanksgiving at Clayton, and we'll be thinking, man, where did this weather go? But I'll tell you.
Thankfully for the game before that, we will be in a nice insulated box at Haddon Township.
Well,
we
will be at Clayton as well. I'm just saying that, that Haddon Township game is going to be fun. It's going to be the Curly Cup between Audubon and Haddon Township. It will be the first time that Haddon Township will be playing at night with their new turf installation that they've made over at, I believe it's William Rohrer Field. I can't remember the name of it entirely, but point is that Haddon Township, the day after graduation, broke ground on new turf, and they now find themselves there was an update from our good friend, our good photographer friend of ours, Dom Franisconi, Haddon Township grad who is now at Rowan University doing work for both. He sent us a video. He posted a video of the progress of the field, because Haddon Township was a lot like Audubon, where they had to play in the morning. Fake the pitch. There's a second handoff. It's Aversa, 30-yard line, another first down for Audubon. The Green Wave are rocking and rolling. They are continuing to move, and the momentum from the end of the first half continuing to carry over into the third quarter.
And it's great. They don't have to rely on forcing any throws here. The run game really has opened up to start this second half. Aversa there, a good combination of both athleticism and physicality. He's able to really work around those defenders and go through them if needed to.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Trips left for the Green Wave. Batillo looks to pass, fires it to the left. It's high, and it's incomplete, but a late flag comes in. I believe that might be roughing the passer because Batillo got hit late as he threw.
Yeah, now calling over for the trainer to look at Batillo. He's been hit
Roughing the passer.
quite a few times today. He has been on the ground after a play. This is the first one that's been called.
So Batillo will now receive attention, and that's not going to be good because you're going to have to put in a backup quarterback for a play. Batillo is down. Look at the head coach. That's Andrew Hallboy talking to Jude Cotter, who is a sophomore and is now going to have to come in for at least one play while Batillo receives attention after he got hit. Again, the call was roughing the passer, which will be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. They would have had, well, the pass was incomplete. It was a little bit high. There was good pass coverage by Bordentown's defensive backs, but Batillo got hit late. I believe the penalty might have been on number 21, Taji Hill, as he came in from the left edge that time and made the hit. But the team rallying around here as they take a quick break. Bordentown getting ready to go, but again, the athletic trainer in his second year, Liam Corbel, I believe his third year actually with Audubon, Liam Corbel. Batillo gets off the field, but Jude Cotter will now have to come in as a backup quarterback, the sophomore class of 2028. Going to try to come in and make an impact. And again, with all of this movement after the penalty, they are now inside the red zone. They're at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, I can only imagine the nerves that Cotter's feeling. This is his first varsity appearance in any sport.
And he could have a chance to tie the game right here. He's going to drop back. He will
Wow.
pitch the pass. Look at that. He fakes it.
The
and now
shovel to Aversa.
Aversa is there. He just shoveled it forward. It seemed almost like a panic play, but he got a couple of yards out of it for his first play. Question is, Noah Batillo has his helmet off. He's not ready to come back in, and now Bordentown has a player down.
That is very good awareness there from Cotter on his first ever varsity play here.
And Liam Corbel working overtime, now attending to number 4 on the Bordentown side, Luke Harris. We will take a quick break. How about Jude Cotter? One play as a sophomore. He comes in, and he gets a completion on a shovel forward to Michael Aversa. We'll take a quick break as the helmet comes off for Harris. 8:35 to play in the third, as a lot of stoppages here in the third quarter from Audubon, 21-14. Back here at Audubon, Luke Harris helped off the field. Audubon led by head coach Dan Reed, assisted by Dan Casenza, John Walsh, Andrew Hallboys, Keith Allen, Sam Santor, and Liam Corbel, along with managers Santino Santor, Ava Hawk, and Ava DeLeonardis, and of course athletic trainer Liam Corbel. After the injury timeout, Noah Batillo actually kind of got a blessing there with the injury because he now has time to come back in, but he is sacked immediately by Jose Santiago, who comes in from the back. And after Jude Cotter had one play under center, which was a complete pass, what I was saying was that what was interesting was we were curious if they would go up-tempo or if they would just be at normal tempo, how many plays would Noah Batillo have to sit out. But because of Bordentown's injury, God forbid, they actually bought enough time for Batillo to get back into the game as a starting quarterback. So Cotter only has to make one completion, or only had to make one play, but the sack brings them back to 3rd and 15 from the 20. They're still on the edge of the red zone. Ellis, they fake the handoff to Ellis. It is passed by Jordan. It is incomplete on the right side.
The Bordentown parents getting very rowdy here with their chants and outshining the Audubon crowd here a little bit.
Yeah, I heard some of that on the sideline. I mean, listen, Bordentown is always going to be a very passionate fan base, and in what is a game that was very close, this has been a very long third quarter so far, and we're only 5.5 minutes into the third quarter. So it's going to be a question of whether or not this game will continue to keep the slow pace. It feels like more and more as we get into this this game that we're going to see. Or first of all, they're going to line up they're lining up a field goal.
Really big kick here for Theo Quadros.
This is going to be a 43-yard attempt.
They
need an extra guy on the field. That's number 75, Aiden McKinney.
As opposed to earlier when they had an extra player.
Here we go. It's low, and it's wide. So they attempt the field goal. Honestly, I think that's better than attempting a punt because if you get them out, it's a touchback at the 20. You're going to get them back now. I believe they're going to start this drive at their own 20 anyway because of the turnover. So kind of no harm, no foul. Really just putting your best effort out there. He misses from 43. Still the longest high school field goal attempt we've seen with 56 yards, but also pretty well short that time. That was Shalleck's kicker, Hunter Dragata, last year versus Gloucester. We'll see Shalleck at the end of the regular season actually twice. October 17th versus Glassboro, October 25th versus Woodbury.
Shalleck, who notably in the first round last year knocked this Audubon team out of the playoffs.
They've done it twice now in recent memory. Lee pitches back to Bangura, and he gets banged into on the left side by Will Severance, who picks up the tackle. They'll get about 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3 from the 28 rather. If you're just joining us, 21-14 game. Bordentown led this one 21-zip, but Audubon started to claw back in the second quarter, picking up 2 huge touchdowns, and that honestly wasn't a bad drive. They just weren't able to capitalize. Meanwhile, in those last 2 drives, they were certainly able to make those plays when it mattered with a touchdown, 24 yards for Nolan Figueroa. Now a rush by Santiago, gets tripped up, spins, fires. It'll be enough for a first down for Bordentown. Looks like the tackle was made by Eric Young, also getting an assist. That was number 63, Jimmy Holt. That'll be a first down that lines them up at the 34-yard line now, just between the 34 and the 35 for Trey Lee and company, with 6.5 minutes to play in the third, just getting started. But, of course, yeah, you were talking about the media spotlight that we've seen. First of all, Audubon having some NFL talent still on the field. Joe Flacco, believe, still for the Cleveland Browns now. Lee pitches back, gets the handoff. He is going to get met and tripped up. Good breakup that time by Lehan. It is enough for a first down, but Bordentown's getting their damage limited as they pick up another gain of 15, 16 yards that time. They are at the 49, still in their own territory, but very close to crossing over here for the Scotties.
Yeah, like you said, Joe Flacco, who has been in the NFL since 2008. There are players on the field here who were not alive when Joe Flacco was drafted into the NFL.
And I was only 3 years old when Joe Flacco was drafted in 08. He's a class of 03 guy for Audubon. Oh, look at this stop.
Ball comes
Ball
out.
comes out. Hello. Who's got it?
Looks like Jordan falls on it, and he has it.
Jonah Jordan pops up with the ball. He's got it. Audubon Green Wave with the possession.
Wow, that is
That is
absolutely
massive.
huge.
Jonah Jordan picks up the fumble recovery and gives Audubon a little bit of life as Bordentown now has a turnover on fumble. Theirs first of the day. Each team has had one. And, of course, when Audubon was going through their early rut in the first quarter, the big topic of discussion was that their first play offensively, it was their first play of the whole game offensively, was a jet sweep to Micah Versa that got coughed up. And now the clock will run. We have 5:30 and counting, or now it will count. Here's Batillo. Almost picked off. We almost had back-to-back turnovers there as Batillo almost found the hands of Gregory Stalnaker, who was a defensive back that we heard a lot of in the first half on the on the linebacking side.
He faced immediate pressure there from his left side. Two linemen came in very close to tipping that ball.
Yeah, if he tipped that ball up, that would have been a problem and could have had an interception that time, but instead, Audubon will signal after a 1st and 10 incompletion. Right around midfield after the ball got coughed up, Jonah Jordan, who we've called his number a lot today. He'll line up from the tight end spot, two receivers back behind each other. Aversa in motion. They give him the ball. Left side, gets some good blocks, gets hands to the face that time, and here comes Aversa way downtown. He's at the 10-yard line. First down, Audubon.
And Aversa was the decoy on that play. Batillo took the ball. He ran with it. That was a quarterback pull.
I didn't even notice that.
That was a very well executed play there from the Green Wave on the option.
There's 2 degrees of trickery in football. If you can trick the players and coaches on the defense, that's one thing. If you can trick the announcers, that is a second thing, because we have a high vantage point up here in the Bendorf-Narducci press box. And how about that for Audubon? 1st and 10. They are at the 13-yard line and closer than ever to tying this game after their last drive ran out of gas on a 43-yard missed field goal.
I think what really sold it there is
Batillo
shovels.
He had another
fumbled.
Fumble. No. It's an incompletion because he passed it forward. It's DeLuca, or rather Aversa, who was the intended receiver, and because he pitched it forward and they said it was at the line of scrimmage, incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Back to that run from Batillo, what really sold it was Aversa ran through a man after pretending to have the ball there.
He ran through him with a phantom ball in his hand. We've seen some great offensive trickery here from Audubon today. Jonah Jordan with the one-handed catch, Sans helmet, Jason Witten style. And now he comes up 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Now Batillo gets rid of it. Oh, it's incomplete. Jordan almost had it popped out of his hands, and that also could have been a pick for Santiago. But again, this game in the first quarter was very much looking like it was headed for a blowout Bordentown win, and now we are standing with 4.5 minutes in the third quarter, not knowing where this game's going to go because Audubon is picking up all the momentum. It's like Bordentown tripped and fell, and now Audubon has themselves in prime positioning to get themselves some points. 2 incompletions, one intended for, I believe it was Aversa on the shovel, and then a second one intended for Jordan.
Almost feels like they might be starting to stall out when they get into the red zone. This would be the second 4 and out for Audubon.
Would be a lot closer for field goal range if that's what they choose to do. Batillo got wrapped up. Probably should have handed it off. Whoa!
Oh, and that is where...
How do you stand there and not throw the flag?
That was a good 4 seconds after the first whistle was blown.
That's going to be 4th down and long.
Understandably, very upset faces here on this Audubon sideline.
I mean, that just, again, that's not even coming from
No, that was
that's
certainly
not even
something.
bias. That's just you tackle the quarterback 3-4 seconds after the whistle. I mean, how do you even play with that?
Wrapped up by 3 different players. And they will go for it here on 4th down.
Well, I think after the first field goal attempt didn't go, if you knock it back, you're probably not getting too many yards closer. It's trips left for Audubon. Batillo will look to get rid of it. Throws over the middle, too far, incomplete. 2 receivers on him. Pilla gets knocked down. He was the intended receiver, and he got hit in some crossfires because he is down. So injury timeout for the wide receiver, Pilla. He is down in the end zone. It's a turnover on downs for Audubon. Good defense by Bordentown, but I can't help but think that there was a missed flag there. Again, I'm not even saying it from the fact that I graduated from Audubon High School. If it was any other team on the field, I would have said the exact same thing, that should have been a flag for, Batillo having the ball. The whistle was wrapped up, and they just sent him to the ground. I mean, I don't know. First of all, my problem with that is that it sets a bad precedent. And if Bordentown has the same thing happen and then a flag gets called against Audubon for it, again, you're setting a precedent to where these players can have a lot of, bad plays, a lot of, unsportsmanlike plays, and, what you don't want to set is a precedent where they can get away with it.
Yeah,
you need to play that by the letter of the law. I mean, the white cap was standing right there.
Quite apparent.
And I usually don't get upset about football calls because, again, football is not 100% my area of expertise. Baseball is where I usually have the most grounding when it comes to, umpires and their calls. But at the same time, those calls are more – there aren't as many judgment calls. Flags, for what they're worth, are mostly judgment calls. Unless you can't count to 12, when we talk about these flags, you're talking about the letter of the law, and these referees are looking for certain criteria for a flag to be made. If it's a face mask, you got to look for where the hands are positioned, and if the helmet gets tugged. And for holding, you got to see where the hands are positioned on the player of the other jersey. So there's a lot that can go into making those decisions, and I just think in that situation they didn't make the right call. 1st and 10 from the 15. Lee hands off to Santiago, and now Audubon's going to be fired up here. There's some more shoving there. And now Bordentown's upset that a flag wasn't called, but I would say maybe reciprocal that time as, again, another late tackle that time. That was number 55, Yvonne Merced coming in there. And again, this could set a precedent for things to get a little bit heated, a little bit chippy, because if they don't lay down the letter of the law, and that's what I preach all the time, is that in football, you have to lay down the letter of the law so that these teams don't get in each other's faces, and you don't want it getting personal. You want them to play football. Right side, caught by Bangura up to the 23. He got about 8 yards, and he will be very close to a first down. It's going to be 3rd and 1, maybe 3rd and inches. Now Audubon's got another player down as – yeah, that's a Versa
Looks
down.
to be a Versa
that's
again,
at least
yeah.
the 3rd time he's been down. And a lot of these are just cramps. They're stretching out the legs. How many times do I have to say on these broadcasts that in this day and age, with all the drinks that have electrolytes in them and all the ways you can get hydrated, whether it's water, Gatorade, Pedialyte, whatever, open up a jar of pickle juice, I don't care what it is. There's no excuse to have this many dehydrated players. It's not like it's 90 degrees. It's 78 right now. A little bit windy. There's no excuse. We saw it on Thursday. We saw it on Friday. We're seeing it today. This is the 3rd straight game where we are seeing dehydrated players. And, again, that is something that has to start with the players themselves. When you are in a situation where you are seeing player after player go down, and I'll say it, Audubon's had probably about 80% of those stoppages for cramps, it really takes the life out of the game. And that's what we saw with Pennsville last night. They were up 21-0, and then as their comeback was failing, as Overbrook's comeback was succeeding, Pennsville would always get in these cramp situations. And when you saw that, what would happen? Pennsville's drives would stall because you are spending too much time between plays. Think about it like in a baseball analogy. when there would be, before the pitch clock and before the restrictions were made on how many times a batter could step out, there would be times where batters and pitchers would step off 3, 4, 5 times in a net bat. And if that happens, then there's no momentum on either side, and it doesn't work out. Everything stalls, and it becomes boring. So, again, I'm putting my baseball analogies to the test here, but in football, 2025, you've got so many ways to get hydrated, so many ways to stay hydrated. There's no excuse not to be hydrated and for these cramps to happen. 3rd and short. Bordentown will break through for a first down as they continue to advance the ball, but neither team really seeming to have any advantage. Again, these games not really advancing very far. We're almost at the end of the third quarter. We're within the final 2 minutes now, or right around the final 2 minutes of the third quarter, and we haven't seen any scoring. Audubon's been in the red zone twice, but they've stalled out both times. Theo Caladros attempted a 43-yard field goal unsuccessfully, and then turnover on downs that time for Audubon on that last drive. Controversially.
And a few key starters here are on the sidelines for Audubon right now. I'm looking at Aaron Pilla. It seems to be Liam King.
Well, Pilla was down in the end zone on that last play on 4th down. Lee ran into his man. Santiago slowed up the play a little bit, but they're going to get half the distance to a first down. 5 yards to the 35. And again, they'll have time for a couple of more snaps before the quarter ends. They've got 1:30, so probably have time if the clock continues to run and if you continue to rush the ball. And as you mentioned there, right on cue, Pilla comes back on the field, subbing in for Caleb Bakley, the sophomore. But DeLuca still on the sideline, as you mentioned. Braden Beebe injured, out for the game without a helmet, but he has a sling over his right arm. So here you go, 2nd and 5. Actually, 2nd and 4 now because they're at the 35. First down markers at the 39. Right side, big hit. Santiago goes down, tackle made by Dylan Hoff.
Santiago has been really putting his body on the line today. He's had a great game on the ground.
Well, he rushed for 120 yards in Bordentown's loss to Burlington City last Saturday, and they find themselves back in another position where, Bordentown is going to have to rely on those backs, but we haven't seen too much passing from Trey Lee, who, again, only passed for 22 yards versus Burlington City in that loss last week. So, as it stands, you're at 3rd and 2. Bordentown has been really diversifying their offense after, again, a 14-point showing and a 6-point loss to the Blue Devils of Burlington City over the last weekend. Good snap. Santiago. No, Lee will take it himself. He might be there. He's going to be at the 40, and that will be enough for a Bordentown first down. There's 5 seconds left. That will run out the time in the third quarter. And here from Bendorf Narducci Memorial Stadium, with the fans packing the grandstands on this Saturday morning and now afternoon, we have a scoreless third. A back-and-forth game has turned into a stall-out here in Audubon. At the end of the third, one more to play. It's the Scotties 21 and the Green Wave 14. (21-14), a scoreless third quarter here from Audubon. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Gavin Van Rel, another Audubon alum in the booth. David Cohen of Seneca and of now Rowan University. Producing today is Santiago, another gain of 5. He'll get it to the right side. What's going to be, we've got another cramp. Got another man down to see if he can get up. He's going to try to get up and get off the field. He will, so they'll stop actually he's going to stay on the field. That is number 10, William Britt. If he's not going to stay on the field, I think he's trying to just stay in, but the last thing you want is to have another stoppage because, again, it seems like Bordentown is taking advantage of the fact that somewhere between 80 and 90% of Audubon's injuries, or I should say 80% of the stoppages today have been Audubon mostly with cramps.
Number 21, Ben Ellis checking in for Britt there.
Yeah, Britt did go to the sideline. As handoff, that'll be enough for a first. Santiago again on the carry. He has been a workhorse again, rushing for 119 yards last week versus Burlington City. And it's a first down.
Yeah,
checking in on, go ahead.
I wanted to touch on this earlier. Something about the Group 1 and Group 2 running backs from New Jersey, they really are some of the toughest guys you'll find. I mean, you can look in the NFL, you'll see the Colts running back, most notably Jonathan Taylor. But these guys who play both sides of the ball, they really do develop a different level of toughness that other states don't have.
They fake it on the pitch. It's Bangura who gets sent out of bounds. Pilla and Severance combining for that one. It's a gain of 8. A gain of 7 that time. It's 2nd and 3. Checking in on an out-of-town score in South Jersey Group 1. Salem leads Woodbury 12-0 in the second quarter. Salem scored once in the first and a second time in the second. If we have any other scores. We don't have too many, actually, today. Let's see if Kevin Minnick's anywhere. We'll have to check out on that one.
Bordentown with 2 running backs in the backfield. They'll fake. Quarterback will keep out to the right side, and he will be downed a little short, it seems, before the first down.
William Britt picking up the tackle that time.
Wow, very close.
That's going to be close, but they're
spotting it to.
Well, they moved the stick, but
that will move.
They're now going
chains,
to move
yes.
it to a first down. That was a little confusing. Checking in on scores from last night's competition. Shawnee beat Camden in a thriller, 21-20, the final in that one. ACIT picked up a 2-0 start to the season after only winning 2 games in their first inaugural campaign, 21-0 over Deptford. Burlington Township beat Haddon Heights 41-14. And in a battle of Cape May County, Lower Cape May shut out Middle Township 42-0. Bergen Catholic in the game of the week beat Winslow at home 41-14. There's a rush left side. Santiago plows forward up to the 28. And I think that's enough for another first down. It's Bordentown continuing to drive through this time.
Bordentown really driving now. And in this range where their kicker has been perfect tonight, you got to think Audubon has to be looking for some sort of turnover here if they can't knock them out of field goal range.
Just seems like the momentum is too strong for Bordentown right now. You feel like something's going to break. The levee's going to go somewhere, and Bordentown's getting, well, first of all, not enough for a first down. It's now 2nd and 1, but they're getting 4, 5, 6 yards on pretty much every play out of the rush. Trey Lee doesn't even need to pass the ball because right now the rush is just too successful for them to stop.
Yeah, they have
He takes it himself. He will get a first down. He will get taken down out of bounds. Tackle by Lehan, and now Lehan is down, and he is actually sitting right where the chains are supposed to be. He has to get out of the way. Well, unfortunately, he can't move, so they'll have another stoppage for Lehan. They now have to figure out where to plant the chains because he is sitting right on top of them. While we take this time out, we will also go over some more out-of-town scores. Another thriller in Atlantic County. Millville beat Mainland 22-21. Pittman beat Gloucester Catholic 45-7. Holy Cross Prep in United Play beat Palmyra 28-6. Holy Cross and TJ Madera up to a 3-0 record. Holy Spirit beat Hamilton 32-7. Haddonfield beat Willingboro 39-8. In addition, we have Seneca beat Pleasantville 32-6. They're off to a 3-0 start this year. Ocean City beat Lenape 22-0. We saw Kingsway beat Timber Creek 36-21. Cherry Hill East beat Triton 28-14. Shalleck beat Woodstown in triple overtime last night 33-27. If they didn't score, it would have ended in a tie, but instead, Shalleck beat Woodstown for the first time since 2010. St. Augustine beat Cherokee 35-0, and it was a big win for St. Augustine, who now improves to 3-0 in the campaign. Cumberland remains undefeated with wins over Clearview, Shalleck, and now Oakcrest 41-34. Delran shut out Cinnaminson to go 3-0, 35-0. Clearview is now 0-3. They lost to Cherry Hill West 42-6. Bridgeton beat EHT, who is now 0-3 on the year under Rob Davis. They won 48-7. Bridgeton really having a renaissance in these last 2 years. Let's see what else is on the board as we scroll down NJ.com. Don't see too much else. Bishop Eustis beat Lindenwold 44-0. We saw PVI beat
Lindenwold as a football team.
Lindenwold is back to varsity this year after missing a couple of games due to not enough players last year. PVI beat Gloucester 30-14. Clayton beat Haddon Township 48-0. Williamstown beat Chichester of Pennsylvania 28-13. Our game last night, Overbrook beat Pennsville 22-21. Paulsboro beat Camden Catholic 38-20 to stay undefeated at 3-0. Here's Lee. Over the middle. It's caught. Right side. He is going to be wrestled to the ground. No, he's going to stay on his feet. That stop was made by Ben Ellis. Catch was made by Connor Bromley, and Bordentown back in business. As if they've been in business the whole time, but now they're really getting close to the end zone. They drop the sticks. 1st and 10 from the 6-yard line as Bordentown will try to get their first score since the second quarter.
Yeah, and I want to touch back on that Chichester game. That's actually a little bit of my neck of the woods from Pennsylvania. It was very surprising to see a team like Chichester from Delaware County coming over here. And that doesn't happen often, you'd think, with South Jersey being so close in proximity to a lot of these Pennsylvania schools. Never really happens.
1st and goal. But, yeah, I don't see a lot of crossovers, mostly for the sake of PowerPoints. But we've got penalties and a false start on Bordentown. That's the first time Bordentown's been hit with a false start today. I will say, a lot of composure on that Bordentown offensive line. If you can go 3.5 quarters without giving up a false start, especially in a Group 1 high school setting, that's very impressive. And it's definitely unique to see. And as these guys continue to now drop things back, they're back at the 10-yard line, still 1st and goal. They'll try this again with 8 minutes and counting here from Bendorf Narducci Memorial Field in Audubon. Tight formation, handoff, Santiago. Taken to the ground. Looked like it was Bakley on the tackle that time.
Audubon makes the stop, but not before Santiago.
Santiago was able to rush for 4 yards, basically got back to where they started. They're at the 5. So it's actually a gain of 5 that time, still 2nd and goal. But Audubon capable of making the stop, but a matter of hypotheticals versus reality and results are going to be the difference maker. I think if Bordentown goes up 2 scores, they've been chewing a lot of time off the clock. It's 7:15 and counting. Putting up 2 scores in a short amount of time is going to be difficult compared to if Audubon can force a turnover and keep this a 1-score game. Handoff, Santiago. Again. He will get taken to the ground by Jordan. Another loss. It'll be 3rd and goal now after, looks like it's just about neutral gain. It's quite literally neutral gain on the right hash now on the rush by Santiago.
And are they keeping their offense on the field here?
Well, it's 3rd down.
Oh, it's 3rd down. I, for
It's
whatever
okay.
reason, believed it was 4th down.
No, it's okay, but we'll see. Wouldn't be surprised if a field goal attempt gets put in from this close to the end zone at this point in the game, because we've seen a little bit of everything tonight from both of these teams, including a field goal attempt by Theo Caladros from 43. Lee drops back, wants to get rid of it. Offensive line collapses. He will be in the end zone. He somehow gets through. Trey Lee, touchdown.
That is a very good play there from Trey Lee. You can't ask much more as a quarterback. On more or less what you'd call a throwaway play on 3rd down, they were looking for the field goal at the very least there. They had it.
They wanted to get points, and now Bordentown putting themselves in the driver's seat again, going back up 2 scores. Again, that's our first points since midway through the second quarter when Audubon, with I think it was 2 minutes left in the second, had that touchdown by Nolan Figueroa.
Yeah, that's the kind of play there where you just see if anything works. And Trey
it's blocked. That PAT got blocked, and the score remains 27-14, 6:09 left in the fourth quarter. Bordentown gets a score. Let's take a look. We've got a replay here. A 9-yard, I believe it was a 9-yard dash to the end zone, actually a little bit closer than that, about 5 yards this time. Trey Lee looked like he was going to get ready to pass because of where his receivers were on the field, but you can see here, gets it in the shotgun. He looks left, and he's got that guy on a slant. He probably could have hit him, but the offensive line collapsed so quickly on the left side. 2 Audubon defenders going around. Here's another chance here. Breaks through that time, breaks through a second, and then just somehow, I don't know how he stayed on his feet there, but Trey Lee in the end zone, 27-14 with the PAT unsuccessful.
And you know, it kind of creeps into the head of Audubon here. What would have happened if they got that stop, kicked the field goal, and that was blocked?
I don't know. That would have been a very interesting decision. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. This broadcast is also brought to you by RCSJ at Gloucester County. Home of the Roadrunners, the premier community college of New Jersey. To become a prospective athlete of the Roadrunners, visit rcroadrunners.com. And to become a student of the Roadrunners, visit rcsj.edu. The next fall session starts October 6th for accelerated courses. That last shot over that we used last night, or we used it on Thursday from the Cooper River Park in Pennsauken. Not too far from Audubon here, as this will be a return. Going to get some space, and he'll get up to the 40-yard line to return by Lehan, who has gotten a couple of them today. And Audubon will now start their drive with 6 minutes, 4 seconds left, and 13 points to cover, 60 yards to go, as the Green Wave trail this one by 13.
Yeah, this is clutch time here for Audubon. We got to see what Patillo's made of. He's really going to be put in a position here. There is time on the clock. You have all 3 timeouts. If you can get a score here, you have to trust your defense, but it starts with the offense.
1st and 10, Patillo. Looks like that's, can't tell who that is behind him. Patillo, he almost got hit there. Holt was able to hold it up. Deep. He caught it. He caught it. He's brought to the ground at the 30-yard line as that ball went through the hands of number 12, Gregory Stallmaker. Or that might have been number 21, Taji Hill. DeLuca came up with it and takes advantage of a deflection. As we talk about highlight reels for the highlighter yellow of Audubon.
The crowd really came alive there. That's the first you've heard him this whole half. It's maybe the beginning of Audubon's comeback.
We'll take a look at that a little bit later. Ran out of time. Here's Patillo. Okay, let's cut back to that real quick, that replay of the catch that went through the hands. Here's that play right here, deep in the shotgun. Patillo dropped back, and then you can see that right side. That's number 63, Jimmy Holt, holding up there and forcing that O-lineman to the ground, deep through the hands, and the sophomore DeLuca comes up with it, gets the first down inside the 25. We're
Patillo
back.
in the shotgun here. He'll take the snap.
Here's Patillo,
right,
left side. He will go out to the right now. Hill charging.
Flag
He's got a
thrown.
flag. Taken down on the right side. It's number 33 on the tackle, Gianni Jones.
If the flag is against Bordentown, either way, it's enough for a first down.
Yeah, but I think it might be a hold coming back. We do have a hold on Audubon. That's usually the most common play in a situation like that. A little too good to be true. And now, Patillo is down.
And Patillo had 2 really crafty plays. Even there, avoiding the sack in the backfield, but...
Well, first of all, because it's a spot foul, it's going to knock them back, I think, to 2nd and 15. That looks like where it's going to be. It's going to be spotted at the 36. But also, Cotter has to come back in for a play because this is the second time that Patillo has come down with an injury. Both athletic trainers for Bordentown and Audubon providing assistance, and an assistant coach for Audubon as well. So after the hold, again, it will be a 10 yards to the spot of the foul. They're back at the 36-yard line. It'll be about 2nd and 15 when they resume play with 5:06 left in the ball game. Batillo receiving assistance. We'll take a quick break. It's 27-14. Audubon driving, though, after a big completion. (27-14). Cotter back in the game. Again, Batillo was down with an injury. He is putting his helmet on the sideline, so assuming it's just a one-play absence as the pass is incomplete. Again, there was a hold on that last play. Batillo had some yardage, but he got clotheslined and a loss of 10. The incompletion to the right side now forces 3rd and 15. Batillo will sub for Cotter at quarterback, who is now 1 for 2 on completions today. Gavin, what do you think? What do you think the game plan's here? It's under 5 minutes to play. It's 4:54.
Well, either way, you're going to go for it here on 4th down. So you don't have to take the shot here. If it's open, you're probably going to look on the sideline here if you're taking the deep shot. But if you're looking for something, I'd expect Jordan over the middle here. Maybe hit him on a slant or a post for 5 to 10 yards.
Hold on here. They're stopping it because the clock was running after the incompletion. Our clock had 4:58. Scoreboard on the right is reading 4:34. So the referees are gonna stop play here briefly.
But, yeah, as I was saying, I would expect to see here them go over the middle for Jonah, look to see Jonah Jordan, see if he can make a play after getting a short gain, get some upfield yardage, because either way, you got to figure they will be going for this on 4th down.
See where they reset this. It's going to be So they decided to change the clock to 4:54, or 4:44, excuse me. Still feels like that's 10 seconds too short because our clock had 4:54 when the incompletion went down. Trips left for Audubon. 10 seconds matters in a 2-score game. Here's the throw. Caught, but immediately taken to the ground as Ben Ellis had the reception. Tackle made by Gregory Stalnaker.
And this is a long, long 4th down here.
They've had those good plays before, but you have no room to punt here. Bordentown, both teams have all 3 timeouts, and Bordentown can definitely just rush and get a couple of first downs to put this game away. If there's any time to gamble, now is the time to gamble.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure about the swing route on the left side, if that was necessarily the way to go on 3rd down.
Especially on 3rd and long after the hold. Trips right. Batillo drops back, fires, caught on 4th down, but it will not be enough. They're about 8 or 9 yards short, and Bordentown will take over with under 4 minutes remaining, and this one could be in the books if Bordentown gets a couple of first downs.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play I thought we might see on 3rd down there, but just not the case.
It's still a close game, and I'll tell you this, I am relieved to see close football again. Week 1 for us had a whole lot of blowouts, and I'm, like I said, I'm relieved to see 1 and 2 score football again. And I'll tell you, I'm not personally a fan of how those last 2 plays really turned out. Again, swing route on 3rd and 15, and I didn't mind the play that time hitting Jordan, but just not enough, about 8 or 9 yards short. And Audubon will potentially, if they lose this one, they'll go down 0-2. They'll have another home game versus Pennsville this upcoming Saturday, the 20th, as Trey Lee gets back in the shotgun. A tight formation, but still 3 receivers to the left. Handoff to Santiago. Left side, goes below the waist, getting the tackle for Lehan that time to get a gain of 5.
Looked like
Second
he
and 5.
might have gotten out of bounds there. I'm not sure. The clock is running.
Yeah,
For
I thought
Audubon,
he was still in play.
the game is not over by any means. There is still
The ball
time
could
on
get
the clock.
popped. The ball could get popped up on this next play, and Audubon could take over.
Much like we saw with Aversa on the first play, and
Same thing could happen.
happened to Bordentown earlier.
Well, Bordentown, yeah, they have also surrendered a fumble tonight, so it is not over by any means. Don't forget our next broadcast, Monday the 15th, Audubon back in town versus Pittman in a rematch from last year and a Colonial Tri-County non-conference match in boys soccer. Kickoff at 4 o'clock from Pittman at Alcyon Park. 2nd and 5, a lot of personnel. They are moving all 3. Look at this. Look at this kerfuffle here. We have penalty flags. Did they draw them successfully? It's delay of game on Bordentown.
And that, I mean, you need little things like that right now if you're Audubon. That is huge.
Yeah, no, that is pretty big. Again, that 5-run rush that Santiago had on the first play of the drive is now all for naught. And you now find yourself in a situation where you're back at 2nd and 10. You're back where you started at the 28-yard line. You have 2:58 to play. Again, ball could get coughed up and Audubon could get the ball back, or Bordentown, if they stay cool, calm, and collected, could see a couple first downs and could see this game come to an end. But as we were saying, oh, hold on here. Here comes a little bit of a swing on the rush going forward, and Audubon's
still with all 3 timeouts, I believe, until maybe.
I believe Audubon did
now.
burn their first.
Yes.
No, they're saying Bordentown takes a timeout that time. So it looks like. So under 3 minutes to play, Bordentown did burn their first. And in a 27-14 game, this will be an interesting finish. Like I said, though, week 1, our Thursday night game, Washington Township beat Pennsauken 41-0. On Friday, we went to Manchester Township down the shore. The final score was 20-2 in favor of Barnegat. Saturday, we go over to Gloucester Catholic, and Morris Catholic beats them 49-0, put up 47 in the first half. All 3 games this weekend have been close. They have come down to the final quarter. I'm happy with that. And we saw Thursday, last-minute touchdown by Nazir Negron for Pennsauken, 41 yards, back-to-back QB keepers. And then yesterday, again, the 22-21 comeback for Overbrook. What a cinematic game that was. And today not being as entertaining, but certainly being entertaining enough to put on a good show for all 4 quarters here, even if these last 3 minutes could be the final straw. For Bordentown, we've got whistles. See if somebody jumped here.
And that will be a false start.
False start on Bordentown. So they're continuing to make mistakes, and that door for Audubon, it's not wide open, but it's creaked open. If Audubon can force a punt for Bordentown, I think how many times have we seen Bordentown punt today? I don't
just
think
one time. And
just once.
It only went about 30 yards.
It wasn't a bad punt for high school standards, but it certainly gave Audubon a solid field position.
And Audubon already blocked a field goal earlier in the game.
They blocked that PAT. That's why it's 27-14 and not 28.
I think that could be very pivotal, that blocked extra point.
Especially if a crazy comeback is on the horizon. 3rd and long. Lee will be forced to pass. He's being chased down. It's caught. That's a first down. That could put a dagger in this one because Bordentown's going all the way. They are gone. 72 yards to the house. Touchdown, Scotties. To the end zone he goes. As Connor Bromley, 72 yards. Bordentown playing big when it matters the most. They bookend this game with field-flipping scores. 86 yards to Bangura in the first. And to put this game away and to take the home crowd out of it, it's a 72-yard score, 33-14. As it could be 34 depending on what we see here with the extra point. Audubon did block the last one as It looks like Audubon could be heading for an 0-2 start.
Fans are leaving on the Audubon side it almost looked like
In
droves immediately
droves.
after that play.
That play is up. The kick is good. It is into the parking lot. And Bordentown looks like they're going to be headed back to the northern tip of Burlington County winners, as looks like they'll improve to 1-1. They lost to Burlington City last week. They now improve. Again, it's not over yet, but it looks like it's pretty much over with a 20.3 score game, 34-14. Their upcoming schedule for the Scotties under head coach Skip Edwards, who took over for the program. Well, first of all, they had a 10-1 season back in 2021. They only lost to Gloucester, and they had a really good year back in 2021, and they haven't really been able to replicate that as much. But their road schedule, this is the first of a 3-week road stand. They're away at Lawrence on the 19th, Maple Shade on the 26th, and then Robbinsville for a home game on Saturday, October 4th. That is going to be a home game. A Saturday night game, a rare Saturday night game for WJFL football playing Robbinsville, and then Riverside on Friday the 10th, Friday, October 17th versus Florence, and then home on Friday to close out the regular season versus Pemberton. For a team that went 7-3 last year, lost the first 2 games to Burlington and to Audubon, that kickoff is muffed, returned by Pilla. Not going to get far on that one at all. Tackle made by number 24, Demetrius Briggs. And with 2 minutes and 32 seconds to play, this game will continue to wind down here from Bendorf-Narduccia Memorial Field. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Gavin Van Rel in the booth. Big thanks to him from coming up today. He's been doing a fantastic job for us over the years. David Cohen on the production, his first of the year. We'll be back in action for football on Thursday, September 18th, versus the ACIT Redhawks in their second year, who again started out 2-0. And then they'll be playing the Triton Mustangs, who lost to Cherry Hill East last night, 28-14. Patillo throws over the middle, caught by Jordan. It'll be enough for about 10 yards. No, they're going to call second and 9. Yeah, kind of a 2-minute drill down by 20 here. Patillo in the pocket, that offensive line holding up, pass back-to-back. Caught by Jordan, and that is number 17 that comes up with it, Lehan. So Lehan able to keep the drive going. They get back-to-back receptions for about equal gain. That one was good for 9. This one is good for 8. They're up at the 38-yard line, 1st and 10.
We've crossed the 2-minute line here in the fourth quarter.
So almost done as Patillo rushing from the right. He doesn't see Santiago behind him. It's caught by Pilla. He's going to get to midfield. That is going to be 3 good catches in a row as Audubon on a aggressive clock management call here.
And this might be the most passing plays they've done in a drive all game.
Yeah, they've usually reserved it for when they need it, when they're down on their luck, when they're in a rut. But now they find themselves attempting 3 in a row, all of them successful with 3 different receivers getting the catches. Jordan, and then Lehan. Oh, he ran into his own man. He's down. He will get wrestled to the ground. It looked like that he and Ellis got together, and that sack will be completed by Devone Johnson. Number 55, Jaheim Drummond, was in on that as well. They're not losing as much as you think they would because they didn't really get too far, and we have a Bordentown player down. Not what you want if you're the team that's up right now. That's number 33, Gianni Jones, that's down. We'll stay on the air. We'll say that if you would like to contribute to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, LLC, all funds go towards my college fund, and also because I'm a second-year student at Rowan College of South Jersey. Pretty much all 3 of us, we're all college students. Gavin's a freshman at Stockton. David's a sophomore at Rowan University. You know, this crew that we've put together for this football season, such incredibly hard workers to come out here and take care of business and advance their careers in sports broadcasting and media. If you'd like to contribute to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we do have a Venmo at DW Broadcasting. No spaces and no hyphens. Like we said, we'll be doing football every Thursday, every Friday, and every Saturday from now until October 25th. It's going to be a fun football season, and we hope you're along for the ride with us in the 2025 season. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins, Gavin Van Rel to my right, David Cohen to my left, as we stand 34-14 Also, if you're a small business who would like to advertise with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we do look for small businesses who would like to be partners with us and get commercials filmed for DWB, offering affordable rates for all business owners. Send us an advertising inquiry today at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email is in the description of our YouTube video. Pass. That's 4 in a row. This time finding some more space with Pilla getting wrestled to the ground that time. Pilla made the catch. Now he's got to rush it back to the referee as that tackle was again made.
And there is a flag in the backfield.
Roughing the passer. Now the question is that penalty added on to the completed yardage? That's the second time Bordentown's been hit with roughing the passer on Batillo. The tackle was made by number 21, Taji Hill. So, again, roughing the passer. It's helping Audubon here. It might be, again, it might be too little too late, but they're at least getting something out of it. Where are they going to spot this, though? Okay, the referee's got the ball. He's walking this one along. Walking. First down. They're going to be up at the 26-yard line. Now they have to get the clock running. 55 seconds and counting. Trips left for Audubon. I mean, for what it's worth, they are not going down without a fight. Left side, diving catch made by Pilla, who goes to the ground. They have to, again, keep it up tempo. Audubon's they have all 3 of their timeouts. They're just not using them. I think with the situation of the game, practicing a 2-minute drill with this game more or less over. Trips right now for Audubon. Pretty far spread out, though. Batillo goes for gold, and it's picked off. He's in the back of his own end zone. He's going to, you know what? He's trying to slide out the time. He did not get out of the end zone, so it is a touchback. The pick made by Jamari Glover, and that will do it. Smart play by Bordentown to send off a lot of time on the clock. That play itself took about 30 seconds off the clock. There's 17.2 on the board, and the second pick that Noah Batillo throws today will be the last that Audubon has in a 34-14 game. Bordentown looks like they'll go into victory formation, and this crowd will go home on the visiting side quite happy, and on the home side down 0-2 to start this season. So Bordentown going up with Trey Lee. It's been a good night for him. And they'll kneel. Bordentown will win this one on the road in a 20-point fashion after losing on their home turf last year 8-7. They come into Audubon's town. They went up 21-0 in the first quarter. They went up 21-0 in the first half, and now they were able to hold on after an Audubon comeback attempt. The final 34-14. Bordentown improves to 1-1. Excuse me, they do improve to 1-1 on the season. Audubon falls to 0-2 in the 2025 campaign as they'll shake hands at the 50, and a hard-fought game by Audubon, the first home game in the athletic director tenure of Christopher Baker, and the first home game in the 2025 season for Dan Reed and their good coaching staff there. Again, it's not a bad game by any means. I mean, they gave up more points today to Bordentown than they did last week versus Paulsboro, and that was a game that was a 28-14 final. Gavin, just come over here for a second. As we wrap things up tonight, we talk about what it means for Audubon in this first couple of weeks. Not the best 0-2 start that you can have. I mean, listen, they lost by 2 scores last week. They lose by 2 scores this week. 20 points, actually a 3-score game versus Bordentown. But overall, just an interesting game because Bordentown looked like they were in it. They looked like they were out of it. Audubon scored twice in the second quarter and then never again.
Yeah, it never really felt like the score was too unobtainable for Audubon.
Right.
At most times, it felt like they were in the game. It just happened that on those third down pass plays, they happened to find a man both times in the first quarter and there in the fourth quarter, and that started the scoring and ended the scoring for Bordentown. A very good showing for their rushing. Santiago was very, very good there. A big win for Bordentown. They're looking to bounce back here and get something going. Audubon now faces a really good team next week in Pennsville that you have to, at home at 11 a.m. on a Saturday, you got to find a way to fight through that adversity and
Well, this is going to be the second week in a row where Audubon will be home to a team that will be traveling 40-plus minutes to get here. Bordentown up at the upper end of 295 up in Burlington County up near Mercer, and then Pennsville all the way down in Salem County. It's going to be interesting to see how Audubon manages because Pennsville rightfully is upset. They're 0-3 to start the year. They had Gloucester City 44-20. They lost to a very good West Deptford team 42-7. And then they found themselves up 21-0 in the first quarter last night. Then they lost 22-21. So I'm seeing both sides of the picture here. They played Pennsville last night. We covered Pennsville last night. And now Audubon will get to play Pennsville next Saturday in 7 days' time. So as it stands, though, Audubon's not off to the worst start it could have been. I mean, listen, Bordentown also had an 0-1 start, but they also lost their first 2 games last year and then had a 6-1 run to finish the season 7-3. So I can't be upset with what Bordentown was doing there. It was a low-scoring affair on the Bordentown turf last year, and I was very impressed with how Audubon kept their composure in that 8-7 win. But this year it just felt like Bordentown got ahead early, and that was enough. They were up 21-0. Audubon got 2 scores back. I will give them credit for their resiliency. Even though they didn't have those plays when it mattered the most, they had them at least in some capacity. Those 2 touchdowns, one by Nolan Figueroa, the other by Michael Aversa, just really good diversity in the backfield that we've seen from Audubon, and that's something that I think that they'll improve on as the weeks go on. Nolan Figueroa is a fantastic player. He's a fantastic athlete. We're going to see more out of him, I think, in the coming weeks, especially when we see Audubon again on Thanksgiving Eve at Haddon Township. I think that the way that this offense is run is going to be completely turned on its head.
Yeah, they certainly shouldn't get discouraged. It is a tough loss. It hurts with the momentum you have going through halftime, but you got to take that and move on. You have to address the issues. Big injury issue today, most notably. That killed momentum for Audubon. You have to figure that out, whether it's drinking more water, preparing.
Put 5, 6, 8 Gatorade coolers on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, if you can put 5, 6, or 7, all you need.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get out of that.
You have no idea how many you're going to need, and I think at that point it comes down to the players. You have to be responsible. In previous years, there was a time where before games and the night before, players weren't prepping or taking it as seriously.
Yeah.
You have to know if you would like to win in this game, you gotta prepare.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that Audubon was exactly unprepared, but they certainly looked dehydrated because 80% of those injuries were cramps. Noah Batillo went out twice. Jude Cotter had to come in. Usually those cramps, they happen to the linemen. They happen to the receivers. Usually the quarterbacks are the ones that usually don't have those issues. But also Batillo got hit pretty hard a couple of times. He got bounced around a lot. And the fact that he, again, stayed through that and stayed with his composure, I liked how he passed. He attempted 23 passes versus Paulsboro, got 13 of them completed. I don't know what the exact stats are, but I would imagine he'd have a similar stat line from today. 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing. They find themselves into the end zone twice, only scoring in the second quarter, and they'll just have to rebound in another home game versus Pennsville. Pennsville coming off of a bad loss last week. I think that might even out a little bit. But why I say bad loss, even though they lost by 1 point, it's bad as in they probably should have had that game compared to a bad loss as in you just got the doors beat off of you. But for Bordentown, I'll give a lot of credit to their quarterback, Trey Lee. They didn't pass as much as I thought they would they passed a lot more than I thought they would because he only had 22 passing yards in the Burlington City game. They come to this place in Audubon, and the third play, after 2 straight rushes, 86 yards to the house for Khalil Bangura. And I thought I was going to give him the player of the game, but for Trey Lee, he came in here after passing for, I think it was 300, 400 passing yards last year, and he comes into this one after a loss to Burlington City, not the loss that you want to have, not the best start that you want to have to a season. He comes out, puts this game on notice, 3 touchdowns in the first 2 quarters before Audubon can get a breath of the end zone. And that's where I think that Bordentown won this game. If they do not score first, like if Audubon's tied 14-14 going into the half, maybe that halftime message is a little bit more positive for Audubon. Maybe those players are fired up, but that momentum was there. They scored twice in their back-to-back drives before the halftime ended, or before the first half ended, and they had the ball to start. But they stalled out in the red zone twice, and those scores are why they finished with 14.
Yeah, this is a game that, as you're Bordentown, you're going to think, wow, we really showed our pure toughness. I mean, they fought through. They never really gave in at any point, even when things weren't going their way at the end of the second quarter. they never gave up.
No.
They had the same toughness. The line never crumpled.
They only had one false start the whole game. That offensive line held up really well.
The defensive line showed against some would say subpar Audubon O-line that for years has been trying to get its grips, but they showed through and they stuck to it. They put the pressure on, and you saw it. Batillo running into his own running back. The several almost deflected passes from the D-line.
Right.
They did a fantastic job at applying pressure today, and I think next week they're going to have the same success.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that Bordentown's going to be going into this next week versus Lawrence with a big chip on their shoulder. They only put up 7 points in their home game last year on the Bordentown Square versus Audubon, and now they come into their town, come into our town, and put up 14. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. I got to go, and I got to pack this stuff up because I got to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut later tonight. But our next broadcast will be also involving Audubon versus Pittman in boys soccer action at 4 o'clock on Monday. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer, David Cohen, my color commentator, also Gavin Van Rel. I'm Dan Wilkins, back here for my alma mater. Didn't go how Audubon wanted it to, but I'm glad to be back. And big thanks to Christopher Baker for allowing us to be here. I would love to come back for some more Audubon football. It's fun to be back home. Have a good one, folks. Final score, 34-14. Bordentown wins by 20.